Good evening, everyone. I'm going to open the meeting of the Town of Dudley Water and Sewer Commissioners because it's at that time 6:30 for the posted time for the public hearing. And so we review it. This is the Water and Sewer Commissioners' review of Dudley Estates drawings for water and sewer regulation conformance for the drawings that are of property located on Jesse Road, Dudley, Mass., and inventoried as Assessor's Map 115, parcel 135. Our job is just water and sewer, and at that point, I'm going to, this is Ben Osgood from the engineering firm. I'm going to turn everything over to him to review with everyone what's going on. Then we have our input, what is required from the water and sewer department as far as material, so it conforms to our regulations for future maintenance. And once again, we're just the water and sewer department. So go ahead, Ben, if you want to explain what's going on.
Okay, good evening. Ben Osgood, I'm an engineer with Ranger Engineering, here representing 4 Lots Dudley Realty regarding this parcel on Jesse Road. What I have here, the map is a existing conditions map. Just to show you the parcel of land. So this is Jesse Road right here. Alton Drive is at the bottom. Mason Road is over here. This is the parcel we're looking at. There's a large wetland here that we've flagged, kind of hatched off. There are some smaller wetland areas that I have in green here, with some little intermittent streams. But basically the site is high over here, slopes back, behind these houses down to a pretty level area, which is where we propose to develop the 18 homes. This property is located within the watershed protection district that is under the purview of this water board, so that's the reason we're here. What we're proposing to do is develop a roadway, comes in off of Jesse Road. It's a cul-de-sac roadway, which has a turnaround and has 15 homes, and then there's 2 that will come off of Jesse Road. When we're developing under the state regulation and under the water supply regulations, we need to infiltrate water. So what we're doing is taking drainage that's running off of this site, putting it into ponds, which are located here, and this is kind of the low area down next to the wetlands. And these ponds are designed so that the first ½ inch of water that comes off of the site gets infiltrated into the ground. So that helps keep water recharged. The site itself is serviced by the municipal water supply. We're going to run a main from Mason up to Alton Drive, and then an 8-inch main down our proposed roadway. We call it Road A, I think. We don't have a name for it yet. And then sewer will be individual private ejector pumps. They'll be, located in the front yard of each home, and they'll pump up through a common main. We actually have it designed for here, but I just mentioned that you wanted to go to Alton Drive, which is not a problem. So, as I said, we have 18 homes, we have sidewalks, 24 feet of pavement. We've actually reduced the pavement a little bit, which is always good for preserving pervious area. Any disturbed area will be lawn area, and the Conservation Commission usually will put in a slow release organic fertilizer requirement in an area such as this, and prohibit the use of any lawn pesticides and that type of thing. That's a further protection for the water district. So that's my brief overview. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Just looking at the map, is there 3 on Jesse Road that you put in?
Three driveways come out on Jesse Road.
No, go ahead, public.
What is the distance from the corner of Alton Drive and Jesse Road to the actual road?
To Road A?
To here,
From the corner of Alton Drive to the actual road itself?
probably about 600 feet plus or minus,
Would you,
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
would you mind turning that and just
Yeah.
explaining the beginning portion again, since we couldn't really see what you were doing?
So, and I'll just start here. This is the existing conditions. We have Jesse Road over here. Alton Drive is at the bottom. Here's Mason. This green area is the wetland area. We're not touching that at all. These pink lines are the buffer zones, which come under the purview of the Conservation Commission, and we're at their, going through their process as well. The site generally is higher here, slopes down behind these homes to a big, kind of relatively flat area. Down at the bottom here, there are some little wetlands. There's one across the street here, one here on that empty lot, one way in the back. And these yellow areas are a little intermittent stream, the water flows out of the wetlands. So our development comes down, just goes right down the middle of the site. The houses are pulled away from the wetlands where possible. The Conservation Commission has requirements as to where the houses go, and we meet those requirements as far as the offset to the wetlands. And I should say this whole stormwater review is going through the planning board. Graves Engineering has done a review, and they've issued a letter. There are some minor things we have to address, but I think generally it's in conformance with the stormwater management regulations of the state. But they also do a review on it.
Go ahead, well, Mrs. Donato?
You mentioned previously, prior to this night, about filling in intermittent stream.
Right, so right here at the Jesse Road, there's a culvert under the street. And the culvert, although we've never seen any water, I'm sure water comes down here.
Oh, there's water. Yeah, there's water.
Culvert conveys water across the street onto our property. What happens right now is the water just runs onto the property and then it spreads out. So there's a little section of what we call an intermittent stream, and then it just disappears. So we're gonna, there's also, that area is silted. There's 12 inches of road sand and silt that has run in there over the years. So we're gonna clean that out, and we're gonna put a new channel that will come down along the base of the hill into a culvert. It will cross our roadway and then go through a pond where it can allow some infiltration and then into the wetlands.
So you're not filling in the intermittent stream?
Yes, we're not filling it in. We're just gonna move it. But technically, that's called filling because you're disturbing it, we're dredging it. So we're gonna,
What happens to the water that sits on the other side of Jesse? No, the other side.
Right here?
Right here. What happens to that water?
that water will still go through the culvert. We're actually gonna clean this end of the culvert. It's about a 12-inch culvert, and it's about 8 inches of silt in it. So it's very clogged, and that's all gonna get cleaned out to allow water to flow a little better through there.
Okay, I live on the corner of Mason Road and Jesse. I'm the house right there.
Yeah.
So there is no house that's going until you get to the little stream?
It's on the other
Other
side
side
of
of the stream,
It's on the other side of the...
going up,
So we're
going up the road.
All right, so what, is all that water gonna push down into my backyard like it does now?
So we don't change the drainage characteristics of this stream at all. So this stream.
But you're working with the other part. You're changing all the water in there, the levels in there.
We're moving it around, but what our
Yes.
drainage calculations show is that what we have to do is design this infiltration in different structures so that the rate of runoff is lower after we do the development than it is now. We will not have any effect on your land. All of our structures are 6, 7, 8 feet below where your land sits.
Can I just, I'm not an engineer or anything like that, right? But when it rains heavy right now, this right here is underwater.
I have
Like,
pictures.
that whole street is underwater. It's like this deep. all the time.
Okay,
Okay, if you
hold on,
mess
hold on,
up all
folks,
this.
hold on. This is water and sewer. As far as, water infiltration, runoff, I think that's conservation board or
Conservation
planning
planning.
board.
But
We're just here for,
We're only concerned
is the
with
water main
the
and the
flow
sewer
of
main.
water in and the flow of sewage out.
So the flood
That's
doesn't matter
it.
for
We
this
can't
meeting?
deal with any of this other stuff.
Anything to do with flooding or your,
Right.
okay, your properties, and I understand your concerns, that will be planning,
Okay.
planning or conservation board.
Okay, Jay?
Yeah.
A lot of breaks on Mason Road,
Huh?
last couple of years, a lot of breaks, water breaks.
Right, right.
Is this gonna help at all?
We have a plan, their responsibility is to tie in with a 3-valve system from Mason Road and go up to Alton Drive. And with George, the acting superintendent now, we want the water feeding down from Alton with the valve shut off at Mason Road, only to be used in an emergency to feed water one way or the other. So that will not be fed off of Mason Road, water-wise. It'll be fed off of Alton Drive. And like I say, the gate valve at the bottom of Jesse Road will stay off. We understand that's an old main, and that's next on the agenda, budget-wise, to see if Mason Road can be done.
And we have a sewer, storm drain that dead ends.
Once again, not us.
We don't deal with
We don't do storm drain.
Conservation.
That would be conservation, highway department, highway
All right,
conservation.
then Getting back to the sewer
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
So how soon before we have to build another sewer treatment plant because you're gonna put all
We-
these homes in?
There's plenty of capacity.
We have the capacity, that will go to Webster.
Sewer plant's
That-
Webster.
That's going to be pumped up, because Mason Road runs at 3/4 capacity now, let's say. That will be pumped up to Alton Drive and heading south down Alton Drive to West Main Street. That's where the sewage is going, not out onto Mason. Yes,
Yeah,
Mr. Dunn.
So you're saying the capacity, so they're gonna dump it all over there until they buy the old Stevens Linning or whatever, and they have all that other sewerage from apartments or whatever.
It'll all flow downhill, it all flows downhill, it goes to.
It's
goes to
Webster.
$45 million?
No, there's capacity in what,
They're only running at about 60% capacity over there right now.
and in 1995-ish, when both towns got into an agreement to build that facility, there is excess capacity in there that the town of Dudley, not the sewer department, the town of Dudley actually purchased, because your general taxes pay the capital costs on that facility, and the sewer department pays the operating costs. So town pays the mortgage,
Yeah?
and the operation expense comes out of sewer use.
So our reservoir has enough of water too to supply all these other
I-
homes?
That would be another question, but I tell you there's sewer capacity. was the answer.
Here's where we stand on water. Probably after this project and a possible another project, we are probably going to put the regulations back into effect for the moratorium and limit it to single-family homes only. We can meet capacity, we're governed by the DEP, how many gallons a day we can pump from our 2 well stations.
Right.
And we're well underneath it currently. Even through this heat wave
Even
of the
after they
last.
had that break?
Even
They ran
with,
for
no,
days?
A break's
no,
a break.
even now, with the hot weather we had last week, with the schools being in session and Nichols College being in session, we did not exceed our limit for water capacity. I'll give you a good tip, on your sewerage concerns, we're about to embark on a huge project forced on us by the DEP for infiltration and inflow, and starting in the next year or two, we have to, all the municipalities throughout the Commonwealth have to do not a survey, the survey has already been done. We have to start tightening up these sewer mains because of the infiltration. Right now, 60%, with this rainfall we've had, 65% of that sewerage going to the treatment plant is groundwater.
That's right, yeah. Well,
Water gets in
didn't
the
they just
tank.
build a house up on the corner of, have you guys just built a house up there?
The same owner did.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And you guys, with somebody I heard through the grapevine, that they had a sump pump tied into the sewer.
Well, those,
No, they don't.
Oh, that's what I heard.
If they did, there's a $300 a day
I
fine.
paid a fine for it, they had to disconnect it, and now they got 2 inches of water in the cellar.
Yeah, there's a $300 fine, but on your concerns, if the sewer system can hold it, Yes, because the Webster is the facility for treatment, and like I say, we are forced by the DEP to implement a program to replace sewer mains, tighten up the concrete manholes, et cetera, find out where that groundwater is coming from. I don't know if you noticed that this summer, there was a study done in May and June. There was a company called Flow. They were in 8 certain areas putting meters down in the manholes to detect how much flow, according to the weather, was traveling through those sewer mains. And the meter up at West Main Street by Dudley Hill Road, the day the gentleman got down into the manhole to pull the meter, he says, "Oh, Nichols is out, huh?" He knew immediately, because of the flow coming down from the pump station from Tanyard Road, told him that school was out. So, to sum it up this way, we know we can supply domestic water to 18 homes, and we know the sewer system can handle 18 homes. But on the flip side, we also know, coming up, we're ready to implement go back to that moratorium to just a few single-family homes.
For water.
For water.
So we've got more than capacity.
Yes, ma'am.
In terms of the water, if you're on Alton Drive and you have a well, is there gonna be a requirement for us to hook into the town water at this point, or are we still okay with a well?
If you have a well, you can,
It's your choice.
put it this way, if you have a well, you're more than happy to use it, and if you came to us with an emergency saying, "I have arsenic in my water, can I tie into the town water?" Yes, you would be granted
Should I be
permission.
concerned about that?
No, I'm just saying,
If something happened to your well, then
say
you can
you had somewhere out of the clear blue sky, some form of contamination entered your domestic water source, the water main's right out in front, yes,
But you're not required.
you don't have to,
Okay.
yes.
If you're looking to find out where this groundwater is coming from, getting into the sewer system, I live on Alton Drive and I have a well. Would that interfere with my well water then?
No,
Give you more, probably.
No, it's,
your wells are typically down deep.
you know, like I say, yeah, your well's down 300 or 400 feet, the sewer's down 10 feet in the road, and we know that area of town is very wet, groundwater-wise. It's not gravel, it's all clay. It's a very, Dudley's very known basically for, a very impervious, it's wet, it holds,
A
lot of clay.
Slab on grade.
it holds the water, groundwater. Yes, ma'am?
Just reiterating the statement that you just made, why would it be sound practice, in fact, to add more of a problem where we already have a problem?
What's the problem?
The problem being the water
That's
itself.
That's not, we can't
No, that's
concern ourselves with
conservation
that.
again.
That's
We
not
cannot
us.
concern
We have
ourselves
no
with that.
authority over that.
We're concerned with water that flows in the pipe.
We're
Stuff that's on the
domestic
ground,
water.
It's not our.
Drinking water.
We can't
Drinking
concern
water.
ourselves with it. Whether we have an opinion on it or not, it's not for this board.
Planning board, highway department, conservation commission, we're drinking water, tap water.
So for this particular project that we're discussing right now, are we going to have a specific meeting to address every one of our concerns with every one of those boards before this is pursued? Aside from the one
I believe
that's
planning board is
next.
meeting right down the hall.
So it's going to include conservation also?
I mean, that's not us, though.
Okay.
That's not us.
That's not us.
Okay,
We're drinking water and the sewerage.
okay.
What,
Yes, Mr. Miller. Hold on there.
I have a question about the sewer. I'm not really up on these pump things. It's gonna pump it up the hill? And what happens if that pump breaks?
It's the homeowner's responsibility.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
Don't-
when it doesn't go up, it's gonna go to the ground, isn't it?
No,
no, it's inside a pipe.
big, huge,
I know it's
a
in
big
a pipe, but
a big
it's-
container in the ground.
There's
a warning device on your pump.
What,
I know it's going to go up.
Ma'am,
Yes.
there'll be a warning device on your pump.
A high level
You know,
alarm.
He's got-
And what happens is the sewer department will respond over and offer a temporary one where yours gets fixed.
Really?
Yes.
There you go.
Only
An emergency, we should have, if we have one available. They do.
Well, no, I'm just, I've already going down.
Dudley Hill has these devices
Yes.
now. Yeah, the golf course, they have.
And they pump it up the hill?
It's maybe what, well, 20, 25-year-old technology. All of Treasure Island, the condo project in Webster, those are on force pumps. all around Webster Lake, when they put sewers around the lake, those are on forced pumps where you see a house down here and the road's up here, that's a forced pump. Dudley Hill Road is forced pumps. And the name of the company is Environment One. If you want to Google the name, Environment One, E1, you'll get all the information you want to learn. And the good news about respecting the E1 is they have representatives in Massachusetts, and they have a company right out of Southbridge that services the E1. The company's name is Mahoney. E.R. Mahoney, I think, is it? E.R. Mahoney is the rep for E1. Yes, Mrs. Donato.
Scott, you mentioned that the golf course is pumped to the sewer?
The people on like,
Not the people, the golf course.
No,
I don't know what the golf course is on.
the people on the left on
Well,
Dudley
the
Hill
golf
Road.
course had to pay that sewer line all the way up
Yeah.
Dudley Hill
It-
Road.
It
when
depends,
was-
did they attach, did they plug into the sewer line is the question.
I'm
But the
asking you
people,
that.
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but the people who live in the
Because
homes
that-
there,
Because those bathrooms have a problem.
yeah, that,
We don't have a moratorium
And-
that says people have to tie in.
and if they were on
Well, they
the,
would have tied in if they,
Mrs. Donato,
There's a
I can
sewer-
answer
there's a
that.
line over there.
The sewers
They're
go
not on the
out
pumps.
on natural gravity from that clubhouse,
Yeah.
out the front to the intersection.
okay.
Then I assume they flow down Tanyard Road with the rest of the main into the pump station. As you go up Dudley Hill Road, those houses on the left-hand side, all the way up to the Four Corners, the President's house and several houses in that neighborhood have individual pumps that just pump into a main out in the street. This way here, when the sewer department proposed the project, they didn't have to dig down 20 feet in the road and put a large diameter sewer main. They just have a force main, and the pump pushes against the main. Once again, write the name down, Environment One, and you'll learn anything you want about the system. Hold on, Dave had his hand up.
I did, just a simple question about the water. If this, I'll call it excess water for 18, 20, 21 houses. Would it be wiser to put that excess water towards commercial properties to increase the tax rate, tax base, or?
We've been sitting on Stevens Linen for over 12 years, I think now, holding, about 10 years, holding back on giving out water. And
Basically, your
water
first come,
permits,
first served type of-
and nothing's transpired in 10 years at the Stevens Linen property.
Um,
And right now, that, because of the freeze-up, that property and the property down there on Packard Mills is shut off. There's no water going to those. In effect, you could say if there's an issue, they've lost their right because we held back 10 years.
Well, I'm just saying, if somebody, we haven't seen it yet, and I don't see it happen in the future, some company says, I want to just build in Dudley, and we're going to increase the tax revenue, but we can't, we don't have any more water because we just gave it to 18 houses. I mean, I don't know.
And Whoopi, you're gonna get
Which-
$60,000 a year, right?
That's not
how can you
gonna,
deny, what's your justification to deny somebody a
Yeah, so
permit
you're
to
gonna have
tie in?
60 grand a year for tax.
You can't say-
how much we can do, tell that.
But it's- we can't-
I know what you're saying.
we can't hold on to it just for what if. I mean, and, you know, we're obviously, we're still
we're going in the hole,
looking
what
for
you're
more
saying.
water.
Well,
No, we're
wait,
not.
wait.
No,
Hey,
we're not.
we're still an enterprise operation, you're looking to sell water.
That's our business.
That's how this water and sewer department operates off enterprise. We're not on the tax base. We rely on what's sold as water and what comes in on your sewer bill to pay our bills. So it's like 10 years, we've been waiting on a couple of projects and nothing transpired. And now all of a sudden, well, here's the opportunity for this project and maybe another project. So it said, well, we don't want to raise the rates, so what's the lesser of two evils? You have the opportunity to take on a couple of projects and then say, okay, put the brakes on it and monitor your gallonage, because they monitor the gallonage every day, how many gallons to pump.
But you made a good point. I was looking at it from tax revenue, you're looking at it from, you know.
We're running a business.
Enterprise.
Yeah.
You made a good point.
We're running a business as an enterprise.
Water in, sewer out.
And we don't want to raise the rates.
So you pretty much made your minds up what you're gonna do with this.
We don't, as long as they meet all our specs,
We can't deny it. Yeah.
We've had previous meetings.
And we have
They've been to us before to see what, is it feasible? And, you know, public record, it's in the minutes somewhere, the conversations that, yes, it's feasible. with the former superintendent that the gallonage per day is available through the water source, and the flow into Webster can handle it.
So how much influence you have on the planning board?
Nothing.
Nothing. We have the same influence you do.
Same influence.
We're
you do.
resident, we're
We're
resident
wa-
taxpayers.
I can
I
only,
believe you were saying.
I can only say we're water, potable water and sewerage.
We cannot deny because whether we personally think it's a good project or not.
Yeah, that'd be a conflict of interest for us to come in
They
here.
hate it.
Yeah,
I mean, I live in the neighborhood as well.
I live
I
on
live
my
right
drive,
around
and it's gonna potentially affect me, I don't know. But I can't,
All the water runs right off the end of Bud Drive and down into the woods there.
I mean, that's why they're engineering, that's why the planning board and the conservation board has to be comfortable with that water runoff and wetland situation.
Right, because
That's
Main
not,
Street-
that's
I know, but I'm
conservation.
not getting off the track.
That's
Main
not
Street's
us.
flooded all the time.
yeah, but like I say,
By the
that's
post
why
office. I mean, you look at all the runoff you're gonna have now.
That's
I know
conservation.
it's not about this, but it
they're,
is.
they're,
The sewer belongs to you guys though.
Right.
And so didn't Main Street have a bunch of sewage waste on the main road?
that's
That's
because
been
of the
fixed.
infiltration
That's been
in our
fixed.
old lines.
But y'all didn't
It's
take
still
care of
gonna
that.
keep doing it. It's gonna get worse.
That's been
We
fixed.
are-
Some of that's been fixed, yeah.
you fixed that siphon
Right,
several
yeah,
years ago.
so-
Like I said, that's many years ago.
10
The
years
problem by the post office was, the line came down West Main Street, there's a brook that crosses the street. Back when it was put in, it went down under the brook and came back up, so there was like a U in the line. Well, the sewage would hit this side and couldn't get through fast enough, go down and come back up.
Plus they engineered it with 10-inch lines to 12-inch lines to
Exactly.
6-inch lines to 14-inch lines, so you had a mismatch, and a lot of that was fixed. The real constraint here is money. If we did all this in the 1980s, the state was giving away money, and the town of Dudley said, no, thank you. And 10 years later, Phase 1 and 2 cost us over $2 million, and now to do some of the improvements would probably cost you double. So the price is going up, and we don't have, to do it right, if we had $50 million, sure, we could fix all these issues. We don't have $50 million, especially with you folks who are on the sewer, you're paying for it in your rates, which are pretty darn high. Okay, so the only way you get money is to raise those rates, it's that simple. So what do? You're in a catch-22, unless you can get federal and state funds, which typically,
Or,
I'm
or we
blessed
can,
with.
sorry,
Go ahead.
or we can add things like this to help
Spread the fixed
spread the
costs.
Spread the
fixed costs
costs.
out for everybody.
The biggest problem is, and y'all don't have nothing to do with it, is the water running over Jesse Road.
That's not us.
That's, I understand, I just said that, Jay, I just said that.
Well,
That's
then-
not you.
I got a question.
Yeah,
please, go ahead.
Well, that culvert goes across Jesse Street, that's only 24 inch maybe. Where's the water line gonna run and where's the sewer line?
That'll be down 5 feet. Those will all be
So they're
down,
gonna
be
put
under
that
it.
little 24 inch culvert.
What's
No,
that?
the sewer line, and the
They're kind of
water,
near it.
They'll be underneath it.
They'll be under.
Gonna go north of it, huh?
yeah, the water line will go, they'll have to,
The culvert's down here, it's gonna go
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
Well, I thought
yeah,
it said gas line over
yeah.
over the top of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, we'll be under, because you want to be under the frost line with your water main and sewer main.
Right, I understand that. I mean,
We're not gonna be anywhere near the culvert.
Yeah.
but I mean, it's not gonna be, I mean, the culvert's only 24 inches, I believe, you know, and I mean, it's plugged all the time, it's flooded there.
That's,
I know,
That's
you-
highway-
I know you're gonna
like I
say
said,
go to the other
yeah,
room,
yeah,
but,
but-
you know, you're down 5 feet below frost
Well,
level. Where's the
you
sewer
can
at?
bring it up
I don't
1,000
think
times and we
people-
sewer's
still
flush,
can't
should
deal
be,
with it.
because there's always going to be sewerage in that main.
So they're gonna run
In other words,
side by
in
side
other
on
words,
top of each other.
when that pump
It
runs,
doesn't go near the culvert, though. The culvert's down the street from Miss Steve Natto's house. We're going north up to Alden.
Yeah, but you're coming from both ends. You just said you're gonna have a
The
shut
water
off
line-
here and here.
There's already a water
So
line
the water
there.
line goes under the culvert,
How
and that
far?
will be 5 feet below the culvert, so there's frost protection.
Yeah,
The sewer line is going to go to Alton Drive, so that will not go under the
so it's not
culvert.
going
No.
back to.
Right.
No, sewer line doesn't
They
go
wanted
to
to come up here to this
Mason's.
manhole here, which has more capacity than that manhole, so that line will come up
Pump
all
all
the
the way
way
up there.
It will not go under that culvert. The sewer and water at least 10 feet apart, they're not in the same trench.
We're gonna-
Yes, sir.
After it gets up to Alton Drive, where does it go? Does it go straight down Alton Drive towards West Main, or does it keep going uphill?
No, it goes to Alton Drive and then it flows down Alton Drive to Main Street.
Farms.
yeah,
Down towards Cumberland.
it's down towards, that's the pitch of the
That's the
sewer
pitch of the
main.
pipe. The pipe flows in that direction, gravity.
And that's, I believe, a 10-inch line,
Right.
Mike said, when he lifted 10-inch line.
When this is all approved and ready to go, how much time is it going to take to tear up Jesse Road and do all of this? How much of Alton Drive will it affect? And Mason Road? Do you have a time frame as to how long our streets will be even more of a nightmare? Any idea on that?
So to run a water line in a street like that, you're probably talking about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
On Jesse?
On Jesse.
Okay.
Right. And that includes the connections on each end. So it's only a couple of weeks to get that done. Same with the sewer. The sewer may even take less time because it's half the distance.
And it will be done at the same time?
They'll probably do the water line at one time and then do the sewer line. They'll allow traffic to go through while they're working. And so the water's on one side, the sewer's on the other, so they'll do one at a time.
So we're looking at a few weeks of
Few weeks.
everything being torn up.
Right.
And how far up Alton Drive? You said it's going to a manhole?
Right to the intersection of Alton and Jesse. That's as far as we would go.
And I imagine there'll be additional work, because there's a gas main on that road, and I imagine you're gonna bring gas? a gas
There's
line
already a
down?
gas line there, so I think they'll just tap it and
Okay,
bring it down.
that's right, the gas line's there, so you won't have to relay the gas main.
Right.
Are you gonna retard Jesse Road?
That would have to be, if it's dug up, it's gonna have to be replaced.
Yeah, that's gonna be up to the DPW, whatever they
Well,
require.
Not past
They don't have the money.
we've have always, time out, please, we have always, when we put in sewer lines and they tear up the road, we put it in that they pave the whole road, right? So I don't know what
Where they're gonna be
Part
digging
of
up
any
both sides of
project,
the
any
road
road
to get those
project has
pipes
to
in.
be brought that.
Yeah, none of this patchwork crap, yeah. So you may
And
want to
they're-
let the guys know that.
they are
Well, I don't care what the
responsible for-
DPW says.
Yeah.
They're responsible if anything happens to the road in the future, to come back and fix it if it's deemed caused by that construction.
For a
For
sinkhole.
you directly?
Sinkholes or anything like that, yeah. And we monitor what they do on the water side.
That's why you usually see it, they'll put a rough pavement down one year, let it sit through the winter, then put the top coat on the next year.
So, say this project is going through, so who's responsible for the road after that? You know, like, there's been issues down because Conrad Allen down there, you know, oh, we want plowing the
That's
roads and all that.
Planning board,
That's the planning board's.
not our concern.
But
We're
this
not
is a
concerned
town road
with the
already,
roads,
I
we're
don't
not
believe all,
concerned.
I don't.
That's a town road?
No, the new road. The new road
Oh,
has
the
to
new
be
road, new
accepted
road,
just
I'm
like
sorry.
any
I thought you
other.
meant Jesse.
No.
The new
Talking about
road,
the new one.
the new road is the responsibility of the developer, builder, until the town accepts it as a public way.
Yeah, like all the other developments.
Like Eisenhower, like
15 years, like Tobin Drive.
Tobin Drive.
Yeah.
Do you?
But
Yeah,
that's
but
not our, that's, again, that's not our
Yeah,
concern.
I know, then
Project
they don't
take-
plow it, then it becomes a safety issue and the
It's
town.
not our concern.
The whole thing, how, when do you, if this is all approved, do you have a time frame of what we're looking at?
I'm an engineer, I'm not a builder.
Yep.
I would say that a lot's gonna depend on the market. The builder would be tickled pink if he could get in there and get it all done next summer. But he's gonna sell all 18 homes to do that, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's gonna take a year and a half, I don't know.
It's selling like the one he already put on Alton Drive.
Right.
That's not moving at all. Okay.
Can we put more burden on the school system?
Yes, we do.
Again, we
Well,
can't.
go quiet, folks, hold on. Yes, go ahead, Mrs. Donato.
It may not be part of this meeting, but you did say, I may have misunderstood, no lawn pesticides on this property?
Correct, there'll be a restriction in the Conservation Commission order.
For the individual homeowners?
Yes, that was market.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Mrs. Paul,
Yeah, they're gonna-
Mrs. Paul, do you remember when you came to the building at the Conservation Commission years ago?
Okay,
I
can we,
know,
can we
but
keep to water and sewer? We'll be here all night long
he
talking about
brought
stuff
it
we
up.
have no
I'm just
concern for.
asking him to clarify it.
You know, it's, like I say, once,
Who is that? Is that conservation? That business about the pesticides?
once the houses, if it goes through and once the houses are built, our job is to read the water meter
Right.
4 times a year and send them a bill.
And wipe your hands.
But that,
Well, no, that's not what our hands is to provide safe water and handle the waste. Yes, sir.
If the road is gonna be
Welcome to Dudley.
belong to the developer until it is accepted, if something goes wrong with the pipes, or the water pipes or the sewer pipes, is the town gonna have to fix that, or is it still gonna be on the developer?
Accepted road.
If, if it's an accepted road, by the time it becomes an accepted road, then we would be responsible.
In the road.
And I mean, if, honest to God, even if the road wasn't accepted, and we've done this because they put money in a bond, there's money that'll go in a bond. We just took money out of a bond for another road in town to fix a
Eisenhower.
sewer pump.
Eisenhower.
Right.
Pump went on
And we would
ice.
not leave the neighbors at jeopardy. If there was a water main break or a sewer main break on the weekend, and that was not an accepted road, we just wouldn't say sorry. The water department guys and the sewer department guys would be there to fix it, and then we would.
No,
And then
fix
the
it
bill-
first, hash it out later.
Then it'll be hashed out later with the developer and everybody else. And that's what happened on Eisenhower Drive. We took the money from a bond through the town planning office to fix a sewer pump, because the builder did
Didn't do it.
kind of like what else has been happening around here lately. You build a road and it takes 15 years to get accepted.
Now look at down in
But again, it's not our concern.
But once again,
As,
Well, it is,
as,
because you guys are figureheads of the town.
I'm
That's
sorry.
what I'm saying, so it is a
but
concern.
as a resident, it is, but as a water sewer commissioner, it's not our concern. We can't do anything about any of that stuff. We can't, we have no power to do anything with that.
Let me give you an example,
Hold on,
okay?
folks. Go ahead.
About 15 years ago, I used to have a lot of relatives in town, they've now passed away. My uncle, World War II veteran, Pearl Harbor, all that stuff. My aunt, elderly, they have a nice home. Guy they had a paper road between them and their neighbor, wanted to build homes behind them. They live across from St. Anthony's. Came to the board. They want to put sewers back there. I was only a sewer commissioner then. It killed me, but I had no legal bearing to say, no, we will not do this project. You would not believe the elderly folks who, when I went out in town, gave me holy hell, I can't believe you're doing that to your aunt. But people don't understand, we're in a position, I didn't want to put that there or approve it. I had to. There was no legal reason, and I should say we, because I think everybody on this board does the same thing. Can't do what I think is best for me, I have to do what's best for the sewer and water users and legally. So I think we're with you 100%. I don't want your backyard flooded, I don't want you to experience any of the hassle that comes with it. But what Scott is trying to articulate is the only thing we can approve or disapprove is the ability to tie into water and sewer. The rest of it, we're with you 100%, understand it, there's nothing we can do about it.
I have a question
Go ahead, ma'am.
about that. So I think I heard you say that we have a problem with runoff in the sewers and that there's a project that you're gonna need to.
Water getting in, yeah.
for water
It's called
getting in.
infiltration.
So what I also hear is a lot of residents in this area saying that we think this is gonna increase runoff. So there is an impact to
You gotta
water
run a
and
planning
sewer.
board about that.
No,
But but it's an
No,
impact to the sewer
no, it's not.
because it's gonna increase runoff.
Well, the runoff is on the ground. The sewer pipes are
Got it.
6 feet under, the water gets into that from whatever reason.
groundwater.
We've got to find out where.
Groundwater.
The areas of town that are of concern aren't that area. You know,
Yeah.
from the first study, it's not in that part
they're
of
the
town.
old part of town where you have the old clay pipes that are cemented together.
It's down in this part of town. and
All
up
the
Dudley
sewer
Hill.
mains going up
On
in
the other
this
side.
neighborhood have to be pressure tested to show that they're not leaking. And obviously, they're gonna be brand new versus maybe something that's 100 years old down to Schofield Ave neighborhood.
Okay, so that test that you did, that test didn't show problems down here?
Nope.
Two other
That
areas.
was the other areas of town. So, our,
We'll get more.
as far as
Yeah,
water
I
and
mean-
sewer,
Next meeting, we'll do next meeting.
5 minutes.
Believe me.
We might see you over there, because I live in the
Board
neighborhood.
accepts the
Selectmen.
Oh, boy.
Hey.
You want to be a planning board member.
Yeah, in the end, the selectmen accept with the recommendation of the highway department.
Okay, thank you very much.
I missed you the other afternoon. Mrs. DiNato.
Thank you.
Mrs. DiNato.
Thanks for your
I
work.
missed you the other night. The other
Oh,
afternoon.
you did?
You were the first thing in the morning I saw you.
You weren't there at 12 o'clock.
25 years
So I came back.
Oh, I finally gave up.
Yeah, it was
Gave
hot.
it the royal try.
It was too hot.
Thanks for your
Thank
efforts.
you, Renee.
So, okay. We're going to close the public hearing. It's easy now.
Well, we've discussed all the issues at the public hearing, so at this time, 7:12, I'll close the public hearing on the Dudley Estates drawings for water and sewer regulation conformance.
Get somebody staying.
Knew that was gonna come.
Done with me?
I guess so.
Okay.
Unless you brought a big check, or
So-
two checks.
Not yet.
I think we
don't know.
We had a,
hold on, we have our agenda for the meeting somewhere.
well, we gotta
I think it's in all the
open that meeting,
packets.
but, we did get a performance, a peer review, did have a peer review done of this plan, and there's some concerns that came out of that, some questions. And I guess we'll have to get them
Hold on.
to your,
That'll be in the next.
Hold on, we gotta,
folks, we've got
hold
to talk
hold
about
on,
it.
hold on. Let's, we've closed the public hearing. We have to find our agenda for tonight's,
Should be all in those.
and we'll get down to Board of Water Sewer Commissioners' agenda for September 12th, 2000.
So before I leave, I know if there are any concerns, I mean, definitely forward them to us and we'll incorporate them in the plans.
Mhm.
So, and Lori has my contact information,
Mhm.
send it to me and we'll make sure that, and any approval, I guess, would be conditioned upon us getting that done. We can get those back to you.
Yeah, we have a lot of reading to do and review work to do.
You have a contractor already set for this? I talked to somebody who came by,
There's a local guy that,
Chauvin.
he's got a couple of different people who've looked at it, but I know a local guy that did his work
Okay.
up there on those two house lots. He's told me to use him, but I don't.
Okay, Ben.
Are they still three-bedroom houses?
Pretty much, yeah. He hasn't told me they're gonna be four-bedroom, he said mainly three.
And before you go, we were gonna look at, one of the concerns that was raised earlier, that may not be a concern, but I just wanna hear it from somebody technical. The force mains, there's no issue with the distance, and if they're stagnant, they're gonna smell like holy hell?
No, well, that's why you design them. I've run into that before, believe it or not. DEP said make a force main 8 inches, and it only needed to be 6, and it came out on the other end, and it was horrible. But these pumps use a very small line, so they'll be,
They're not gonna sit there stagnant and,
they'll be,
okay.
they'll cycle a couple
There's
times
enough,
a day.
yeah, there's enough
It's only 2
activity
inch.
to,
Right.
yeah,
It's
all
only
right.
2 inch, and you got
Well,
18 houses.
I thought we talked about getting a report from the pump company, through the engineering firm, to show us all the specs.
We have that.
You have all the specs like
I'll have to
that?
redo it now. We did it for Mason.
Okay, so you're gonna have to redo it, because I don't know, like on Dudley Hill Road, there are a few manholes
Right,
on
they
your
do
sewer
have-
main,
They made,
and I don't know what's in there.
yes, they
On
asked for,
Dudley Hill Road, we have your force main with those pumps. I know you have manholes also.
there's a clean out.
Oh,
and-
clean outs.
And then there may be a vacuum relief, maybe, but I think clean outs.
They're cleanouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every 500 feet. or
Well, we did ask for a review, so we're all up to speed on what that pump system is doing.
Yep.
And we are familiar, we do have an E1 pump in stock, right, for emergencies to help people
If it's
out?
available, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll get those after.
yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, have a good night.
Two.
Careful in that hallway.
All right, okay, we already opened the meeting. I guess the first thing on the agenda is acceptance of August 8th.
Make a motion that the minutes of August 8th be accepted as presented.
I will second that.
Second again. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're all here. Aye, okay. Moving on, item number 3, time to reorganize the board, which we have to do on a yearly basis, which means,
This is July.
yeah, well, don't forget, everyone's
Yeah,
been
we've been
vacations.
all
and
over the place, yeah.
Everyone's been all over the place. So what's the pleasure of the board? I don't know, I know we need what? A chairman, vice chairman,
Secretary.
clerk,
Clerk.
you know,
Just those three.
just those
Those
three,
three,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? Chair,
I make a motion that we vote the same people into their current positions and
vice,
bless it. Is that how you say it? You know what I meant.
clerk. Well, is there any, what's the feeling on that? I mean, we have a quorum, we don't have the fifth member here. How's everybody feel?
My assumption is you want to be chairman.
Well, I made the comment, I don't want to, I've been chairman Is there anybody else that's interested? That's,
I do not want
to
to
be honest, yeah, I don't think it's right for me to, I don't wanna come in here Soviet Union style.
You don't want to be chairman?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't mind, to Scott,
Either way, it doesn't matter to me.
you know, it's up to you guys.
Well, I think it hinges on if you wanted it.
I'll be chairman, yeah, but it's up, it's,
Well, I think you make a good chairman, my personal, because you're around more. I mean, that's the bottom line, is something happens, you can be in town.
I say it.
You know, the rest of us kind of take.
Well, like I
and
said,
are you,
I don't,
you're not taking.
I don't wanna, like I say, that's why I'm opening up to you guys, discussion wise.
That's a good, I mean, you're more likely to be in or around town to take care of something if it has to be done right away. Any of the rest of us have to take time off to get back in from a distance. You know, they're both in Worcester and I'm in Plainfield.
So I made a motion, we have a second?
Well, I think we got to state it out that Jay is going to be.
I make a
chairman.
motion that J.R. Spall continues
What's the
to
R?
be chairman
Richard.
Oh, okay.
of the Joint Water and Sewer Enterprise Commission Board.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain, so, okay. So that, then we'll, who's vice chairman?
I have been.
Okay.
Make a motion, it's
Scott stays vice.
Middle.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
Vice chairman?
Is second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And clerk?
Fred.
Who's been clerk?
Fred was.
Anybody want
Make a motion that we keep Fred as.
Keep Fred as clerk then. I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Who made the motion? Sorry.
Paul, yeah,
I made the
Tom.
motion.
Ooh, you caught somebody. Awesome.
Okay, so we've taken care of our reorganization.
Okay, sorry.
Item 4, Robert Howe, I think you've read the letter. I think Mike and the guys visited that property.
I think the fine is too low. It's $300 a day, you can go back 3 years. By law, 3 years. $900 is not, he's not covering the penalty of he hasn't paid a sewer bill.
Now, this is, I'll give you,
On
this is like a vacant type building that's in rough shape, that's going through renovation. I don't know who,
It was a different owner.
Who the-
Previously, he hasn't been a month. He's only been.
Yeah,
You can go against the prior owner.
yeah, but
They just
I'm
haven't-
not-
the place was in dire
I'm not sure.
dire straits, the property.
I haven't found one for it.
It's been sitting vacant for
Where,
years.
where's this?
Going up
Tanyard
Tanyard Road up on the top of the hill.
It's
on
been
the
a
left.
nightmare and a half, that house.
Oh.
The white, it was a
You
white
can, if he's
two-family.
willing to,
The one right behind the barn. Right
Yeah, behind the barn.
Stockley's
Yes,
barn.
Virginia.
That's where the,
This meeting was about giving them permission to do this. I didn't have that happen tonight.
Not yet.
oh yeah, this was the public hearing involved in that. We still have to make a decision.
Didn't know
Do you want
if
us
that
to
was-
let you know when, if you're not here with the decisions? We can call you, just let you know if you want.
Don't we already know?
Well, unless there's some
No,
legal
come
reason.
on.
No, seriously.
Seriously, we
Yeah.
know. You
If there's no legal
call
reasons
me-
to
you
say no,
call
we
me.
can't.
I know
We
that.
could
Call
just-
me if it's a no.
Okay, all right.
We could even stop by if you want.
That would be good too.
You say, right?
I'll make it happen.
All right. See you, Mr. Steve.
Look at it this way. On 3 separate occasions, they visited the property, so we documented August 14th, August 21st, August 22nd. Yeah, we could make the fine $90,000.
but you have to prove that they were actually, like, they could have said, well, we disconnected the other days.
Here's
You
the
have to
here's the
physically
3
see it.
days the guys visited the property,
You know,
and they saw it on those 3 days.
I don't think you have to prove, is that property on water and sewer already, on sewer, I mean? It has been?
That is what's.
I imagine it's-
Yeah, we had somebody who lived on Lakeview Ave, Lake Ave, along the pond, and he sold his house, and the owners called us and said, hey, I never got a sewer bill. So you don't have a sewer? Yes, I am, how do you know? I just bought this house, and the owner told me. So we went back against the prior owner who bought another house in Dudley, right, it was like $9,000. Guy threatened to kill me and everything, but he lived there for 25 years or something, knew he was on water and sewer, never paid his bill. He ended up, paid $6,000 or something? So we went back against the guy who no longer owned the home.
Yeah, but I mean, my opinion,
If you don't enforce this, people think they get away with it. If it goes around town, somebody gets whacked for it. And the other thing we did, we went around to about 10 years ago or 7 years ago, whatever, we told people, if you are illegally connected, we will forgive you. We'll give you like 3 months to tell us and get honest and get on this, on the billing system, if you will. After that, the fines are coming, and that's when we did it.
Scott, this is connecting a storm drain to the sewer.
Yeah, I know what it's doing.
Okay.
That's a bad
Thought you
thing.
were talking about.
That's
Yeah,
part of
but
our
it's
eye.
It's not. that
When they use the word storm drain, what are they talking,
runoff.
a roof leader?
Yeah.
A roof leader?
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't a sewer, it wasn't a sump pump, it was the roof leaders.
Yeah.
So those could have been,
Was it connected when that thing was built?
Probably.
yeah, the
Yeah.
house is
He
60
bought
years
it
old.
like that.
Well, bottom line, I mean, I think we should, and if he comes in and wants to talk and we settle then, maybe that's what we do.
The guy, how long did the guy live there, the guy who sold it?
What's that?
Oh, I don't know how long.
Oh,
ago
oh,
they sold it.
The one who's, no, it's been, there's been trouble up there with a bunch of owners there, so we don't know exactly how that all transpired, but.
I think we should at least pursue it. $900, I mean, I feel bad for the guy who owns it now, and maybe he gets a $900 fine because you did warn him, but I think you can also go back 3 years and penalize the prior owner, whoever he bought it from, and say, hey, you did something illegal, time to, otherwise,
But we don't know when.
you know who's paying, who has sewers in
Yeah,
here?
we don't.
You know who's paying for that?
Yeah, we are.
For his stormwater. You guys are, I'm not on sewers.
Did they go up and give them a warning to disconnect it?
They went 3 times, that's why.
And it was
yeah.
still in,
Yeah, and that's why they did the 3, because they
So,
went 3
well,
times and it was still
I would
connected
definitely keep the
those 3
fine right
times.
there
Keep
as
the
far as
fine
the 3
going.
that they did see, but
Keep-
after that, as far as proving.
Keep going with
That's 3
300.
times, it's $300 a day. That's at least 1 week, 7, that's $2,100.
No.
I think it's $300 a day from
It's
August
not
14th.
$300 every time you show up, it's $300 a day.
I think it's
I
per
think I'll
time.
go with
No, I wrote the bylaw, it's $300 a day, it is a bylaw in this town.
Right. It's $300.
I'm sorry, but this is a stickler with me, because people were getting away with it, and other people are paying for them, and it's wrong. It was
All right.
wrong 20 years ago, 50 years ago, and it's wrong today, and somebody's gonna, they have to
Should we,
pay the
should
piper.
we see if we can get him in here to?
Let's table this for 5 minutes. I think Laurie's looking
All right.
for some paperwork in the office in regards to the bylaws maybe, or
He-
language, because she went down to the office.
If this guy's only been in there for a month, I have no problem, but if he knew about it for a week and never responded, I would hit him for at least 7 days and $2,100. And then I would go after the previous owner for up to 3 years going back, because that is what the bylaw says. And if they, too bad, so sad, if these people know they're getting away with stuff.
Well,
One of the previous owners.
do we have, the next thing is, do we have permission to go into people's property and look like that all the time?
You smoke them.
Smoke bomb.
They send smoke bombs and it comes out the
I mean,
gutters.
as far as sense, I don't know, the guys must have been there to look at something,
They're there on another issue.
they were there, and then they caught it.
Right, that is the house,
You-
right,
you-
George? That's the house, yeah.
We used to smoke bomb and stuff.
Yeah, they would, as far as I know, I don't know if it was Brian was in there, but he said that, you have to, he gave the story. They went back, he said, we'd be back to check this out. Anyway, he gave him a warning that we needed to come back, and apparently it still was connected. But I don't, Mike went in there after too, and that part I don't know who went in after on the additional times.
Is there a possibility that's still connected?
There's always a possibility, we could have it checked again, have the sewer guys go up and take another look. But I'd be curious to see exactly how this all transpired. I'd like to see if the guy could come into the meeting and explain what exactly, because since he's the additional owner now, what's going on?
Additional owner?
I mean, he had the
But
new owner.
bottom line is, he was warned, he was told it was illegal. If it's not disconnected right now, he should be getting fined $300 a day, period. No,
14th, August 24th.
sorry, I couldn't get to it, or...
At a minimum from
I don't
August
think
14th
it's...
through today if it's still connected.
All right, these guys.
I would agree, from August 14th on, $300 a day until you disconnect. And go check
Yeah,
on it
find a
every
copy of the
day.
regulation of exactly how it's worded.
We have a pump station at the bottom of the hill.
Then we have to,
It's in the town bylaws,
we have
it's
to- we have-
$300 a day.
we have to get
And you
a-
go back 3 years.
I've got to find that in there. I haven't been able to find that yet.
What, the bylaw?
Yeah.
Is there work going on in that house every day?
I know we have.
So the last times we were there was work going on. We had to fix a service there a couple weeks back.
Send the guys up there tomorrow, send 2 of them, okay? And see what they see. And if we think we have an issue, we get a letter out to this guy.
With a bill from August
From
14th
August.
to
I would
tomorrow for,
I would send him a letter saying that we're coming out to inspect if you're still connected, and we will be fining you $300 a day from August 14th
Yeah, but the
on.
minute he gets the letter, he's gonna be right over there, disconnecting them.
should
Good,
have been already.
It should have done it already.
good, but he's got a month, he's got 30
I'd
times
love to, but
$9,000.
that's what I'm getting at.
They
I'd
can,
love
they can
to-
go to the door, ask permission to come in. If they can
Smoke
always say
bomb it.
no,
Smoke bomb it.
I'd
And
love
film
to see
it.
the guys go up there, point
Smoke
blank,
bombs.
and walk in the place and see it.
Smoke bomb
Oh,
it
you
and
can
film
see it coming off the corner of the house.
Yeah, you'll see it come out as gutters.
But
Smoke.
It comes
Blue
down and goes
smoke.
into the ground. If it goes into the ground, it's coming here.
There's
Typically,
a way to do it,
you go out to the manhole and you
yeah.
pop a smoke bomb, pop a smoke bomb. It'll flow back up through the pipes. Or they shoot, use a smoke gun.
Can you have them smoke bomb that nearest manhole?
well, I'm gonna have them go up there and to check and see what they see right off the bat. The guy shouldn't, if he's disconnected, he shouldn't have any problem letting them in and take a look. So they can make a determination from there what's
I
going on.
would have a letter saying we're gonna fine you $300 a day, a minimum of $300 a day from August 14th on. And we reserve our right to go back up to 3 years per town bylaw, fund that bylaw. And I would give him that letter. Because then he'll say, oh crap, I better disconnect this
Can you
now.
make that a motion, Scott?
I want to make that motion, what I just said.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah, but then we give Howe Rental Properties,
Yep.
Mr. Robert Howe, a letter saying that his illegal connection offends bylaw, whatever it is, and that he will be fined $300 a day,
From August 14th.
at a minimum $300 a day from the date of August 14th on, until he disconnects. And we have to
Well,
sign off on the disconnection.
So
You
the
can't say, oh, I
guys,
did it
so
a
the
week
guys
ago.
go there tomorrow and they see it disconnected, and his words are, I disconnected it August 22nd.
I don't care. That's so, you should have called us.
Yeah, I don't know, was he
You
told
can't,
to,
you can't
was
prove
he
it.
told to call
Listen,
for inspection?
Listen, the worst case is you give him a $9,000 bill, and he's
Mike,
going to try to get it down to
Brian will be
$4,500.
involved with Mike.
But he's going to feel pain
Check that out.
for not abiding by the
Well,
bylaws.
they need to double
George
check
will
it. They need
send
to
the guys
double
up there
check it.
tomorrow and
Okay,
Please
I'll
double check
second
it.
the motion.
second the motion.
We'll do a double check
Who
on it.
seconded, Tom?
I did.
Scott?
Okay, so we've taken care
And-
of,
You didn't vote.
And
Oh, okay.
that we go back to the previous owner.
We
for
reserve the
previous
rights
owner.
to go back 3 years
Yeah.
per bylaw.
we're gonna find the bylaw.
We just gotta find it. That's
Gotta
all.
find
That
it.
should be in the town bylaws.
It's,
In print.
it's definitely there. Do you have a bylaw book?
Can we vote
Yeah,
on that?
it's got one thing in
Okay,
it.
I'll find it.
we vote on Scott's all those in favor vote on Scott's motion about the fine system.
Aye.
Aye.
31 Tanyard Road. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Okay, George, can you give us a call tomorrow?
I'm out actually tomorrow, but I'm gonna have,
Can you give
Laura's
instructions?
gonna talk to Mike tomorrow immediately in the morning and tell him to do a check with Timmy of that property. And she'll get information from Brian, exactly what transpired in the original contact with that property owner. So we have an idea what exactly started.
Can you inform Mike to give us a call on
Sure.
the status of this tomorrow?
Yep. Who do you want him to call?
All of us.
Well,
Each one
you
of
can
you?
do email.
Yeah.
Yeah, email.
Just an
Email?
I'll call you and you can email all
I
them.
can email, yeah.
Yeah.
Item 5, I&I study. Paul Brinkman feedback. Somewhere.
I asked that this be put on the.
Somewhere.
agenda.
It's in the packets.
It's in the packet. I know we just signed the bill for tie and bond for the I&I, the original I&I study. They gave us their report 2 days before it went to the state. We did have sewer consultant take a look at it. He sent us some, as far as I can see, some very viable questions. there it is.
Paul Brinkman.
Paul Brinkman's email. Some very viable questions, and I think they need to be answered, to be honest. Some of them, as far as cost, some of the numbers that they used for their calculations. I think we need to get, to find out
What actions we can take.
what actions we can take before the state comes down and holds us to what we already know is going to be a very expensive project over the next 5 or 6 years, 10 years, whatever. We want to make sure we can find, make sure we do the best we can for the users. Some of them,
Well, this has been coming for 4 years. We were told in 2014 by Louis,
Yep.
I was coming, and we dragged our feet on it. We know that much. We dragged our feet because we got the letter and asked for an extension back in May, I think. And now, obviously, the reason we went with Ty and Bond at that time, because they're doing the town of Webster's, and we needed an engineering firm. So, your question is, his input. So what do you want to do with that input? Get it to Ty and Bond?
No. Well, you're asking him or us?
No, John, what do you want, like I say, in front of us somewhere, you've got,
If you gather their information, you want
He's
to
got 12
Ty
items.
and Bond as to what their findings are, what you bring across to them.
some of them are,
I have one question before you. Did we send information to the DEP?
Ty and Bond did for us, it had to go in August 31st.
And so we didn't try to find whatever medium is available to say we need to delay this?
It was on an extension already.
I understand that. My question is, did we try calling a
This had already
representative,
gone
somebody,
through, because that came
to
in the
call
day
the-
it was due.
call the DEP and say, hey, can we get a delay? We just want a couple weeks. We didn't try
we
that.
didn't even think of that. I myself, no, being that we're under scrutiny from the DEP,
No,
and
We had to get some process started right away,
Right.
but there's a chance maybe you can, now that you're kind of on the coast side, that you're starting to go through this, you may be able to revamp a few things.
Well,
and
Here are my thoughts. When I read this, I was like, there's a lot of holes in this thing, and it seems like they're not in our favor, okay? So the numbers are skewed against us. Yes, we have an I&I problem, and no one can deny that. I think everybody in the state of Massachusetts, it's no
every
sound.
system's kind of
Yeah,
I&I.
but in all honesty, I think that we need to, maybe Paul's the guy, to know how to do this, but I think, we need to hire Paul. B, we need to get him or somebody to delay so that the DEP doesn't run with the information they were given and, start to hammer us. Whether that's and Paul may know the way to get that accomplished. And B, maybe we have to call our state representative and say, hey, call off the docks, give us some time. It wasn't done right, we're a small town, there's no way we can afford this.
usually in these cases, the state reps have no authority over the DEP. It's the DEP's call, whatever they deem. I know it sounds pretty rough. but-
And I understand that, but there's also, I mean, I know a couple of people who are highly influential in the administration of the state. I can call them and say, hey, can you tell me how to accomplish this?
I think what you can do now is as you've given DEP your initial startup, okay, they're aware of it, they're fine with it now, they know there's gonna be time involved, we started the initial process. Now you can kind of meander a little bit and say, okay, well, what is this guy's opinion? What is that guy's opinion? And put it against Ty and Bond and say, here's what we're finding on this. What are your opinion on it?
How do we know that, here's my fear, we gave something to the DEP and they're running with it. You know what I mean? They're saying, you got somebody who's like, oh, I'm gonna clean up, I'm a hero, I'm gonna clean up the biggest problems in sliced bread, I don't care what the cost is, and they work at DEP and they're gonna be down here in 3 months being our worst nightmare. How do we know that's not gonna happen? And how do we know that we have time?
They have
I'm not sure we
certain,
do.
they have certain, like in the water side, they have certain regulations they're following. They can't go supersede regulations that they have to perform. Same thing on the sewer side. The only avenue you have right now is that you're able to expand your horizon a little bit more. So now that we've given them a time frame that we're doing something, they're aware of it, they're giving us enough time to do it now, okay? And that maybe you can compare notes on various,
Can we
like,
resubmit the numbers? Because the numbers are not our favor, that's my fear. They have a set of numbers saying, you are very bad. I want to give numbers that say you're not that bad.
you'd have to have it stamped and engineered that the numbers are what they are.
Well,
You can't really,
the numbers are what they are according to the meter readings.
that's, the
Correct.
company came in and that's what,
We hired that Flow Corporation to do the meter readings,
it's all been.
and their numbers aren't lying.
It's, no, but it's not that the numbers are lying. It's like anything else, that they're using an algorithm to come out to their conclusions. And are they using the right algorithm? What's the motive behind?
Okay, I know.
So
The question is, do we have, how can we think we could control the DEP?
That's now, we have to talk to Paul. I'm sorry I'm getting passionate, but Paul's been doing this for 20-something years. He is very knowledgeable and knows exactly how to approach these things. He's seen them before. He did work for Framingham and Leominster and all these huge towns, and he's a wicked smart guy and understands the system. And we don't, all right? And what I'm afraid of is that some religious zealot.
I think.
We need somebody.
Before everything gets a little too crazy, I think what you really want to do is get Mr. Brinkman in here, along with Marina from Ty and Bond, and have a discussion with them, because you're saying things that people don't understand everything that's in play, including myself. And in order to get the facts straight and what needs to be done, where we stand.
What would happen, well, here's a scoop. Paul Brinkman is an individual, he's not a corporation.
That's correct.
He has no liability insurance, no workman's
He
comp.
just said he's getting liability insurance.
But he can't,
no
the
tax.
town will not
No
accept that if
tax
they don't
ID
have
number.
liability
The
insurance.
treasurer will not accept a bill from him without him being a valid mass corporation.
Well, we can ask him if he needs to.
So, and conversations with the town administrator, he wants to stick with Ty and Bond as an engineering firm. So,
I'm not worried, I'm not, with all respect to the town administrator, I'm not concerned with what his thoughts are. What we need is, we can talk to Paul, see if he can get incorporated, whatever that requires, but we need somebody, if it's not Paul, it's gonna be somebody like Paul, who has extensive knowledge on how water and sewer, and the DEP and the federal regulations all work, and how you manage these things so you don't end up with a $20 million project.
Monday
that
through
we
Friday, we
afford.
can pick up a phone and get someone at Ty and Bond. Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, we can't call Paul Brinkman. He's at his day job.
And they're not the cheapest people.
Okay, I understand. But the flip side is, it's like, you start pitting your contract that we've signed and the work we've already done with a corporation, and start questioning their workmanship and their caliber, they just turn around and say, we're out of here.
But
Now,
honestly, Jim.
hold that to the DEP.
But do we accept something that may be flawed?
Right, honestly, just because
To be
we
honest.
hired them, if we have Paul, and I'm not saying we need Paul, if Paul, these are concerns with what,
Let's-
let me finish. These are concerns of what Ty and Bond did, right? If it's true, maybe we shouldn't have them as a firm.
Let's email, let's send a copy of those concerns to Ty and Bond.
To Marina?
Let's send a copy of those to Marina and get a reply for next month then. Nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with
I
that.
think both should be.
other-
Both should come together.
the other
and
concern-
questions asked of both of them together, because you could sit there all day and do this and
I
say this.
understand we want the best
but-
for our system. but
The only way
as-
to get your answers you need to get and feel comfortable with the way you're going.
As George mentions, when you
It's the
deal with
only
the
way.
DEP, like on the
You
water
wanna see if
side.
we can get them both here for next month?
I would say that would be your smartest move right now.
Did-
I mean, whenever you feel you can
Yeah,
get them here.
did everybody read this, what he's saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Absolutely did. That's why I asked to have it put on the agenda.
There is time, there is plenty of time to do this as far as.
There's time to work on this
There's time to work on this, like.
because spring 2019 is when the infiltration work starts. So we've got
Couple of months.
time.
So
Well,
the
let's-
companies, the flow company certifies what their meters have read, and then it comes to the engineers to certify what they're seeing, and now you want to have two different people come in and give their both opinions of what they're looking at. And that'll give you an idea of exactly what you're happy with, what you feel comfortable with, or you don't feel comfortable with. I think that's the only way to do it.
I can make a motion, we get Paul and, I'm sorry, what's her?
Marina.
Marina, both here at the next meeting. We'll schedule a
Well,
meeting.
Paul's not gonna come if he can't be paid. I wouldn't do it for free.
Why not just send it to Marina then?
Let's just get these, how
Well,
about,
the
make
problem
the
is
motion,
how do
we
you-
send these concerns to Ty and Bond and ask for a response. We have time.
You can at least give Paul a heads up, does he want to come in for at least a little bit or something? We understand the money issue, or whatever. It could lead him to something else too, that he might say, okay, I will.
I would also ask, before we send it to Ty Bond, I would ask Paul if he's comfortable with this being sent, if he may think that this was proprietary or confidential. I don't know.
You want to give Paul a call?
Come, everyone together here.
Okay, we're aware of it.
At some point, we're gonna also have to be, we're gonna have to deal with the elephant in the room that's gonna be, we haven't heard from Webster in a number of years about rates. That's gonna come.
Well, I think
And we have had, there's been major league battles
They can't,
over years past.
but they can't, I thought Paul Brinkman, who negotiated the new terms of the contract that exists today, says that they have like 12 months to reconcile a prior year, not even that, 6, whatever it is. They have a time frame. You can't go on 15 years later and say, hey, you owe me money from 2010.
Okay, all right, that did get.
There is.
On that subject, it's a good subject. You're supposed to reconcile on a, I think, a yearly basis. They call, what they call it, the true-up? I think that's the word,
And if it
true-up.
doesn't take place, they lose all rights to it.
We've
that was written in, all right. I
gone
didn't know
in
that
the
was
last
written in.
4 or 5 years, once we joined boards, with previous town administrators sending, as far as sending certified mail to Webster
Yeah.
for true-up, and nothing's transpired, they've never gotten back.
Wasn't it the former town administrator before he left was involved with that?
Yeah.
I don't know about the new one now, but there was a thing where he was gonna get involved with what Dudley was sending over to Webster and this and that. Somehow that faded out when he left or whatever,
We've
nothing's
done
been
our
done with
part.
that.
Yeah.
We've done our part.
They can't come back
We've
prior
done
years
that, on that subject, we've done our part as
Okay.
far as approaching certified mail. For the-
Okay,
So,
we're good.
we have, somewhere there's a track record of us
Yeah.
being concerned.
Yes. And can we get a copy of the last agreement that was signed? I just want to see, I think we should all know what that,
Okay.
Now,
That'd be a good idea.
with
to
the
look
true
over.
up.
for our information,
Sorry, we're beating you up.
we pay our,
Sorry.
we pay our monthly fee for waste going over there.
On a yeah,
Any capital expense
it's a general fund.
goes to the,
Irregardless, we haven't dealt with anything in a rate change from Webster in a long time.
and I think we've talked about
It's coming.
it, we've
I
talked
understand
about
what's
it
coming.
in the past, and we've said, you know, it's been, what, X amount of years, don't come and hit me with a
Right.
$1 million bill when we've been trying to approach you for
Okay.
X amount of years.
All right.
We have been forthright on that part, Scott.
They could come to us and
Good.
say, we want to up next year's,
Yeah,
but they would have to justify it to us.
yes. So they can't just say, hey, we think we should have raised rates for the last 5 years, and you owe us $600,000, we're gonna dump it in 1 year. They can't do that. The way that contract is written, I don't believe they can do it. And that was Paul Brinkman.
And we've done our part in the last several years, believe me, there's paperwork in the office. So what do you want to do now?
Okay, we're
One drink.
we're going.
Scott, I guess the bill every year.
We'll see if we can send this thing off to Ty and Bonds and
All right.
get some answers to those concerns.
Hasn't gone up. Going
All right, on the next subject, I don't know if it's in your package. Warrant article. I don't know, is this the only one?
That's, I can make
I'll
copies.
no, I'll
if you
read
want.
it.
The printer was.
Article for
jammed.
submission for the fiscal year 2019 special town meeting, October 29th, 2018, sponsored by the sewer department. To see if the town will vote to transfer from the sewer retained earnings account, I won't read it, the sum of $49,560 for Phase 1 of the DEP mandated inflow and infiltration study, or take any other relative action relative thereto. That was the meeting we had, and the town administrator was here. I thought we were gonna combine both of them, or we're gonna
No,
wait?
they want
We're
to
gonna
go
wait,
separate.
one separate.
Oh, gonna wait? Okay, so that's what it is, $49,000 out of retained earnings for,
And if, you know,
For who,
when-
Ty and Bond?
after we deal, after.
yeah, to pay for
Yes.
Phase one.
spring
Phase 1.
spring
To pay for
2019.
the spring spring work.
It's here,
I
so-
think okay, we got a commitment from Marina that it won't be more than that. So, that's fine, but we can, because at town meeting, depending on how things go between Paul and Marina and all of this, we can certainly have that, we can say, well, you know what, we only need 30. Or we don't need it at all, pass it
My
over.
concern is, if there is true questions about their interpretation of the numbers and stuff, do we still want to use them?
Well, we have to have some money available.
Yeah, I don't have a problem putting the money,
Yeah,
borrowing the money, but my concern is, do we still want to use them? If there is true
Well,
concern.
if we can deal with if all night long, we've got to just keep moving forward. We can change at any time. The town meeting, we can't ask for more, but we can ask for less.
Or you
We
can
can ask
increase
for
it,
none at all.
increase it and use it the next part for the next operation.
I just wanted to mention one thing. When I sent that packet to Paul Brinkman, it was after our last meeting, and then Ty and Bond had revised the schedule of the cost. So if it's the cost that you're looking at, Paul Brinkman was looking at the first one.
yeah, the cost has been reduced, right?
Yeah,
By how
they
much?
reduced it by quite a bit. Was it 30,000? It was quite a bit.
Yeah.
It was quite a bit.
In our-
reduced.
in our
The cost of what?
In the August.
The phases,
Phases.
phase 1, 2, and 3. Everything else
Yeah,
stayed the
I
same.
don't-
Those-
I don't know,
reduced
I've
that.
got it in my vehicle, but,
Oh, here it is here. It is in here.
it's been reduced.
Yeah, he's got last ones.
Okay. This is the August notes.
I'm worried more about, you know,
Comments.
the final, and based on all this is what you have to do. You know, $20 million.
Yeah, it was 76.
And what's it down to?
It's down to 49. I think that's it, 76 and then 75. Yeah, that's spring night, that's fall 19, spring 19. Spring, okay. Spring,
Where's Ty and Bond out?
Worcester.
Worcester. No,
Well, they have an office in Worcester,
Worcester and Westwood.
and they have offices in New York. Well, anyhow, on those two warrant articles, the fees were reduced from what the original estimates were, but the bottom line is, we have to have money available,
Yep,
and if we don't use it, then it goes back.
okay. Make a motion to put that warrant in for
And we have to
49,000.
be ready, we have to be ready for 2019.
One way or another, we still have to deal with I.
Yeah.
However we do it.
Big straw.
Make a motion, we put an article in for $49,560.
A second.
It's been seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
All right, that takes care of the warrant article. Item 6, fees, regulations review. I tell you, every time we turn around, it's another problem. We're gonna have a regulation
They'll
book
have copies of these.
14 feet thick pretty soon.
They'll have copies of
They
these.
have copies of that.
Okay.
But that's not a bad
I
idea.
know,
because
but it's like-
we're not gonna be around forever.
It's like, can you remember where it is? So
This was a result of the Tanyard Road incident there, and Brian came up with some, and Brian's been our meter guy, and he's been going through all the town and has found various situations that we need to do some revamping here. And you guys all have a copy of this.
Is this the,
Okay, that's
It's in
the,
that packet, that's paper clipped. Yeah.
okay, it's the fourth page in.
The big one mostly is we're estimating billing, we're constantly estimating billing on a lot of homes and stuff, where there's tampering involved. So it's trying to be a little bit more proactive and a little more forceful with our fines and things. I won't go through the whole thing, but you can read it right there. It's pretty straightforward. We've had this problem come up 3 times now, and somebody has really been taking advantage of it for, I don't know, a year or 2 years or something like that. It's quite a long time.
What are they doing?
Meter tampering or getting free water, so to speak.
An estimated billing.
See, we can only get into sellers certain times for certain things, if we have to replace something or fix a meter problem or something's not reading. And then when you look at the billing, when Lori looks at some of the billing and see where it is and the type of house it is, or people living in it. Yeah, it's erratic. She throws us a flag, and then we go out and we tell the homeowner that we have to do a meter, like a new radio reader or whatever, or something's wrong, something with the meter, we're not getting the proper reading. And we go in there, and a couple times we found some tampering being done.
Recuse myself from any, I work for Intertype.
Yep.
You hear them? We make water and electric and gas meter locks and all that stuff. Do we use those?
No, we just use the plastic seal type, and funny thing is, because we have to get to them ourselves sometimes, but what's happens is, it doesn't matter if we use that or we have ours, if they've been tampered with, they've been tampered with. Because the plastic is very easy, you can't go replace it with another thing, and we see it squished, we've seen some wallowed out where they just can slide it, you can't get away from it, we know it's been tampered with, so we immediately investigate it further, and we go through, we found one on another street, he worked for the water department on another town, and he had it down to a peg, but I noticed it was swallowed out because it could slide back on, slide back out. And I says, no. So I actually had called the police and got them in there to take pictures and that. But we didn't have a set program then. We made up something else small, but we wanted to get this more.
If you want to try something, like some device, let me know.
Yeah.
If you want to look at the catalog, and I'll be glad to get you one to play with and see if you like it. All right? Seriously.
Yeah, no, I'm always.
And if you want any beta products, you know.
Bill is fluctuating.
We're trying to get more high-tech.
That's how we notice it.
Can't we just have a bylaw, whatever we want to call it, if we see a bill too low, we estimate it high?
No, you can't do that.
A guy he might have had 4 kids and they all left at once or something. I don't know.
It has to be a steady couple-time flow of inconsistency for us to even put up a flag. And sometimes we know the homes, if they're vacant or not vacant, we monitor them, say, oh, there's people still living in there, it should be this amount, basically. We go back a little bit further, say, hey, well, this is what their common use was. You know, but if somebody's in there starting to use like water, like minimal water, and it's a family of like 4 or something like that, then we can throw a flag up and say, okay, now a couple times it's been real.
I have no problem with any of this. One thing I would do is, because these are some pretty good dollar values, if you run it by town council.
They all have to be.
Go further.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Greg, the next page. I have it, it's going to require a public hearing.
All right.
It looks like someone's been in touch with the.
That was on the other ones. Remember when you were talking about the plan extensions? That's what the town council's looked at.
These are for your review,
We use
just to look
Connell
at.
now, we don't use
No.
Bracken Lucas?
No, Bracken Lucas.
No, they're not anymore.
What they do?
Well,
Gary did? Even after all that stress?
After all that?
All that stress? Wow.
He's not buried on Ramsden Road, is he? Okay, so these proposed changes to the fees and regulations, these are updates that you found,
This is, yes.
that you feel should be implemented.
Yeah, after going through what we've gone through in the last many months and stuff, and we find that our system is not very stringent. Ryan had put together a lot of these information, because he does all the metering mostly.
I think
he was getting frustrated with the whole set that people are taking advantage of, it seems a lot, because we don't have a strict enough policy in place to enforce our rules and regs and that. So we'd like to at least have the support to do this and carry it forward and see what the accountant, the town council says. If it's something that if we're too far off, or we're in the ballpark, or wherever, at least we'll be stronger than when we are now.
I would say do that, and then take and put all of it in we've got a couple different fonts.
Yeah, there would be a template of.
Put it all
for sewer
together
and
in
for
some
water.
sort of an official, and then we can have we can publish it and.
Okay, you want to do the whole thing, make sure it's all legal?
Maybe make sure it's legal.
With that new addendum.
One question I do have, when I look at these fees,
And I think we're gonna have to,
Remember a few meetings ago, what analysis do we have that justifies the fees?
We had a couple that were extensive in cost. I forgot one was 20,000.
I'm talking about,
Oh,
like,
she's talking about.
I'm building a new house, I want to tie in.
Yeah, we kind of going by rates that they charge, like for, like FEMA and that, when, you know, an emergency, they do a quick hire. The basic rates we try to keep within the realm of everybody else as far as, you know, but we're still out there doing our machine, our dump, our guys, our salaries.
I'm talking about, I'll look at the sewer, 1 bedroom, $1,800, 2 bedroom, $2,400, 3 bedroom, $3,600, $4,800, $6,000. So,
where do those numbers come from?
remember we had a meeting a few months ago that said that that there were legal actions or something where you have to be able to justify that.
I
So-
think that was specifically in regards to the ones that we sent to town council, that was on the plan extensions for when they expired, we had them look at them, because we were gonna double the fee. There were 3 different options, which are in your packet. It's in.
The fees for,
a plan if it expired. So
That's right,
if you
that's-
look at,
that's right.
it's this one right here from the town administrator. It's stapled together, it says, please share with the commissioners. And then on the last page are the 3 samples that we sent to them to look at, 3 options.
Yes, I remember that.
I just want to make sure that,
He was happy with,
He was happy with everything
That-
except for the double one.
Okay. So that's for permits and things like that. These
Right.
rate fees that we're proposing.
yeah.
That sheet is what's currently in
This is what's
right now.
current.
The only one that are proposed is this sheet here. that
That's,
Brian
okay, it's
put together.
proposed to
The other
add
ones
that.
are already in
Okay,
effect.
so this is already in effect.
But
okay.
getting back to that, again, we're saying that to hook up to the sewer, that it's $1,800 for a 1 bedroom. Do we have an analysis of how we get to $1,800? Because, in other words, because we have a capital cost in the road, and you're paying, some form of in effect, how did we get to $1,800? It's supposed to be cost-based, from everything I've heard, right? So, and how does,
I think
every time...
rates are used along with maintenance costs. It's an involved thing, maintenance,
I'm not
upkeep,
sure how that came.
daily costs, things like
Do
that.
we-
Mike might be
have that
able
done?
to answer.
Mike might be able to answer a little bit better.
It'd be good
on
if
that,
we
but-
had, like, in a folder somewhere, this sheet with the backup behind it, if we
For
ever
each
get
fee?
challenged, because, 1,824, then it goes up 1,200 all the way up for a new bedroom, and I'm like,
Kind of a usage.
But how old are those, 2006?
I don't think they're that old, I don't think they were that high.
It's a 3-bedroom, a 4-bedroom, okay,
Yeah.
residential.
I'm gonna say Louis.
These have been a
Louis
while.
actually-
It's Louis.
Louis put those together.
All right, well, I think we need to find how we came to those numbers, that's all. And I would say the same, when we look at the water ones there too.
The water rates on the first page.
So connection fees, 2,000, 4,000, 3,000,
Those are basically the same.
4,000, 5,000, 8,000.
Depending on the size of the plant.
Yeah, it's not the fact that we have a fee, it's,
What's our justification for it?
yeah, how do we come to that number? I know
We could approach other enterprise towns.
you could take an average of what's in the
Yeah.
area.
You can take an average, but
That I
They,
would,
they use basic federal rates too when they make their calculations on some of these, okay? Plus you give a little bit more for anything that's outside costs that you may incur that you don't realize.
I just think we need,
We can see from
we
website.
need something behind each one of those numbers to justify it, is my point.
We'll contact
I'll get a
website,
copy of
their
their
enterprise
fees.
also.
Yeah.
And I talked with them in the past, and
I think we're gonna
I
be
think a
lower.
lot of this stuff transpires
All right.
back and forth.
You know what I'm saying, though?
that may be
Yeah.
where Louis and where they came up with these
Hey,
numbers.
George, one question on that topic. Water meters, 5/8 of 3/4, $35. What's that mean?
As far as,
The first page. I mean, you can't buy a water meter for $35.
no,
That first paragraph, that first,
that's kind of obsolete. That may be just the head part they're talking about there, but
I mean,
I'll have to verify.
you have to verify everything under the word water
That's
meters,
just the
because it
base,
doesn't, Doesn't make sense.
$35 is
No,
the
because
base
usually you're up there now about $8,500, right, $125 right
Even
now.
with a radio readout, you get
Yeah.
$300-400.
And it's changed now differently because these are the old style. This has been out there for a while
I mean,
too,
the idea of
so-
a water meter, $35,
That's an old-
$45, that doesn't,
Doesn't exist anymore.
no,
Oh, I'm on the
Okay.
sewer one. right?
that doesn't,
Yeah, right here.
I can't see it. You're gonna have to review this, Judge. I mean, I definitely understand the connection fees, water and sewer, those have been in place. I know
I
we've
think
dealt
that
with
might be the
FEMA in the
meter, so I'll have to
past,
check that. I think
but our first paragraph,
Yeah.
Clue how they came up with it.
That might have to be revamped anyway.
even like a new meter fee, three-quarter.
Yeah, the meters are different now and they're.
Yeah, with the
system
radio
we're getting
readouts,
is-
it's far more money to buy a new meter.
So these are old, these are gonna be obsolete anyway.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
So I think, I want to make a motion that before this gets published anywhere, that we address it again and make sure that
Address it again and work
it's
on it.
accurate.
Yeah.
And that we can get any backup to justify the cost of, especially the connection
We'll,
fees.
we'll inquire next door,
Okay.
because I know they have the same operation.
Yeah.
See exactly what.
Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, so shut-off notices and all of that is in there. That last line, I asked that that be put on there. Private hydrants not metered. After that water break down at,
Well, wait a minute, I made a motion, but I,
okay, all right, let's finish
I'll
that.
second that motion, Scott.
all right.
What's the motion, to table this until we get correct
To
information?
get-
Yeah, to look at all the rates, get what they should be,
Mm.
and for the things that are, for the rates that are over, let's say,
Mm.
$250 or $500 or some figure, let's try to get back up, whether it's calling other towns and getting, hey, we're the average in the area.
All right,
You know, or we actually have hard data,
maybe we're off,
we could be off.
could be off,
Yeah.
you know? All right, it's been seconded,
Tom did.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that last 6D, private hydrants not metered, I had that put on there after the hydrant break and the significant water loss. I was in discussion with, I think it was with Lori, it was either Lori or George.
Yeah,
It
I have
was
an
George-
answer,
it was
I have an
actually-
answer for
It
your
was with
concern,
George.
too.
Those hydrants aren't metered. Though, you know, so conceivably, somebody could be going down there with a water tanker and filling pools off of it, and we wouldn't be any of the wiser.
That doesn't run through their meter?
No, it's off their suppression system, which is not metered. You don't meter water, sprinkler
Fire
suppression, fire suppression.
suppression.
All the mills are like that, well, just that one now, because that's the remaining mill.
Schoolyards.
But
Schoolyards.
but
the fact,
then
but
2
the-
weeks later, you had a car accident down there, and a
Yeah.
car took out another hydrant that was in the bushes.
Yeah, the thing about that is the one mill that we, in the back, like I said, we didn't have access to. I did also talk to Donnie, on a little side note, I did talk to Donnie from LaFleur Electric and asked him about flow meters for those type of problem areas like mill, which would be just that mill. Everybody else is accessible. And they do make a flow meter, simply similar to what we have on our stations, that would activate, would be their private connection through their phone lines, similar to what we have in our system, and it would alert them that they've got massive water releasing after a certain period of time. You know, would be excessive. The flow meter would go off, and in turn, we could even get a call one way saying, "Hey, there's a possible problem here." As far as meters being metered, hydrants being metered, you cannot meter a hydrant on a suppression system. And since these mills were built back in the heyday, this is the way they were done. Nichols College, they have their yard hydrants too. They're not metered either, but they're also always accessible if there's ever a problem. The funny thing is you can try to do something, but you're not really going to accomplish anything by metering it.
Or, you know, we need, my concern is that we either need to be able to know that something's going on there, or have them cut and capped.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
remove them.
We,
Well, you
Because there's too much, there's the ability to, or even by virtue of a leak, we knew nothing about it for hours,
hold on.
because we had no way to look at it.
Don't we charge fire protection bills to properties that have hydrants?
also, what rate that you charge them for the suppression.
So we're already billing these
Your
people-
building's that, but not an excessive amount of water loss, like, for, you know, they're designed for fire protection. They're not designed to fill trucks, they're not designed to do things like that. Unfortunately, like I said, the only way to safeguard that particular mill is what I said, put some kind of flow valve in there on their cost, on their side of the gate, that would tell them that, hey, we got a problem, some water is running excessively.
Right, yeah, and I guess why would, we can still, you can't charge them for the water, for the fire suppression. You should be able to meter it.
You could require them for meter, but then you're gonna start opening up Pandora's box and they're gonna say, why aren't you requiring this one to be metered, that one to be metered?
We have a program that we're gonna.
That you'd have to have that implemented the same way you have the fee structure implemented, and it'd have to be approved and legal.
Yeah.
No other town really does that unless it's a specialized thing. I don't.
No
I don't
other
even
town
know.
probably had a fire thing.
Well, that was an access problem, which is gonna be, like I said, you have every right to impose a fee. Now, there's the other thing too. I mean, if the water is lost through the hydrant and we find it and we're able to calculate the loss, you can fine them on that instead of going through all this, except for the flow part of it. Since if they want to keep the gates locked and we can't get access, sure, we can implement a flow meter or something to safeguard it. But on the other hand, aside from draining our tanks down, if there's excessive water loss, and we know from our gauges whereabouts in town, we're gonna get some kind of loss. Because if the police aren't telling us and the residents aren't telling us, motorists aren't telling us, it's gotta be somewhere in the mill area, like when we did it that night. We did search that mill. I couldn't get behind the mill, that was the problem.
Okay.
But,
Did we fix the problem about getting access back there?
yeah, they told us we should be able to get access through there when we need to. We just give a phone number, they call them, and the guy will come out who stays there. He still lives in that other building there, 35 Chase.
Okay.
What if he's on vacation?
What if he's not home?
Well, there's gonna have to be some kind of way after that, but like I said, we're gonna be more cognizant because we're gonna just have to walk it and try to go right to the back
There
side
needs to be,
and view
a
it.
Knox box, or there's
Oh,
way.
We can always have the
there's
police
ways-
department or fire get us in there if we have to, if we're that,
You just tell them we want a lock on that gate. Or you put a lock on their lock and
He doesn't
Just like
require
we
a
do-
fire hydrant, shut it down.
just like,
that's, you can't do that. That's per the fire department requirement that they have, that they allow those yard hydrants to have for fire protection for the fire department to use too.
And I
the
get
Dudley
that.
Sewer Department has a, when they lock the gate there, there's a double lock there. One is for, I don't know, one of the other companies, I don't know, gas company maybe. One of those locks is so they can get in there.
Yeah, I would think right now, you'd be bringing him into the board meeting sometime in the future when we have the fine. We have that listed
We need to
here,
talk
so
about
he
the
can
laws.
discuss about that fine, and then you can discuss it with him about,
Okay.
because I can only say what the kid said way back, but like I said,
Yeah.
it could have gone out of his head, I don't know.
It's not only that property, I can think up at the parking shop plaza, there are hydrants out in that yard. The schools have hydrants in their yards.
Yeah.
The college has hydrants in their yards. What's to say someone's not up at the far end of Ramshorn Road filling a tank truck now off of one of our hydrants? We can't watch every hydrant in town 24 hours a day. Someone could be down the Sunnyside filling a truck off a hydrant.
But out on the
You
road,
wouldn't know it.
there are at
We
least
get a-
a line.
There's no
Those hydrants are in the back.
electronic system that, a control board on a computer or something, and they have sensors on it or something?
No, that's more of a centralized type of building that designed to do that, like at a factory, that a yard that controlled by like a single factory, and their whole yard would have hydrants. They can do that kind of thing. You're talking about a water system and a municipal water, it's a whole different animal. But you can get an idea from our graphs that, hey, they're using excessive water.
Your
over
daily
here.
pumpage would show you.
Daily pumpage would show it on the upper
daily
zone, say,
pumpage
oh,
is
yeah,
gonna
we got.
show you something's wrong.
If it continues, oh, we're gonna start investigating something up there. Something's not right, or on the low side. So we have little methods of determining that
was
water
such a
loss.
freak incident.
It was, but
It happened.
I was getting phone calls from, I was in southern New Jersey.
Okay, private hydrants not needed. The I&I study, Laurie, the article, that
I
was,
just put that up.
that's just double, okay. Water sewer monthly report, George?
Yeah, I'll start with the sewer. They did start jetting at night. Luke from the water department helped them out. They went to the courthouse to Cumberland Farms.
Over there, yeah.
They did find some substantial blockages here and there, but they were able to clean them out. They still got more to do, so I think Mike's gonna start gearing that for maybe next week, because it's been so wet and everything right now. So he's looking at doing that. He's done some cutting and trimming around their stations. They did have to fix the jetter, had a problem, which was taken care of. They fixed the pump on Conant Ave. The solenoid had gone on that. They met with Ty and Bond along with myself regarding the I&I study. Jay was there with us. They deodorized various stations to make them smell good, so Scott wouldn't be upset. 59 Dudley Hill Road did have a pump problem they took care of. They met with Bill Emerson for Carpenter Road and replaced the manhole cover on Dudley Hill Road. So, not too bad there. On the water side, I'll make it kind of brief. We installed 15 radio read systems, which we continuously do now, and anytime there's a meter issue or final, a new radio read system goes in. We are going to make a presentation on a new system. I'm going to be learning about this new metering system coming up with new technology. It's supposed to do us better as far as leak detections, things like that, would help us with issues with people who are using water and not metered. The guy from Thai Sales will be coming in October. We'll be kind of looking at some of this. Brian's already looked into some of this with Bluetooth technology and things like that. I'm not a computer guy. But it seems like the system we're putting in now with integrated is doing very well. We're hitting over that plateau because these systems can adapt to the new radio read hardware that's out there and give us a lot of information. We've been having still some issues with Station 6 chemical feed pumps. I'm waiting for one of them to come back. I've already ordered a new one, an EMIC one, that's given us good results as a backup for that. And right now we're on our backup pump, which is okay and it's working so far. We do have continuous work on meter replacements and repair. We did do that fire station tie-in. I'm not exactly pleased where the hydrant ended up, and I expressed that. But the problem is the driveway is not conducive to put the hydrant where I wanted it because it makes an arc and it's very small, and it would end up going right where the hydrant is. So the hydrant had to be where it had to be. The only thing I'm about to do is put a barrel over that hydrant right now so nobody hits it until they get everything ironed out. But right now, there's been a lot of traffic and stuff.
Possible to get some bollards put next to that?
That's the next thing. I'll be addressing that as they go through the project and they start dressing up the thing. I will insist that they put some bollards in there, definitely. And everybody else has said the same thing. It's and they felt, they looked at that and we looked at it and they said, no, we just can't go where you want to go. There's also a transformer going to the right there too. And that's getting wedged in there too. The station is expanded out in the rear. So there's only going to be a little bit of room to get around the back there. I can't have that because if trucks are tying into that hydrant or whoever, they're going to be squished up and cause a problem.
One of the concerns, I've seen it happen, where mostly youngins will take their car and drive down that sidewalk from school.
Yeah.
They come out of there and they're going to...
I'm going to put two on each side of that hydrant, so there's 4 ballots going.
That's something to address with the town, but something's going to have to be done with that sidewalk to prevent motorized vehicles from getting on it.
Yep. We had a big break. We dug at West Main Street by Cumberland Farms to repair a 12-inch gate valve, which we thought was the packing. As you guys might have seen, we had water running down there for a long time. Well, what happened was when we had that main break and we started recharging the line, there was a rush of water. And we thought it loosened up the packing, and then it was going to be a problem for you to shut that down, because I'm shutting the whole section of town down. But it turned out to be the bonnet bolts were all loose. So the bonnet was actually popping up on it, the whole big head of it. So we were able to go to Arbitron, grab some new bolts for it that measure the size, and get it secured down and button it up. We should be paving it Friday with another one to clear up the road. I know it's a disaster now, but I was about to start putting coal patch in it. We're only a couple days out. I assisted a contractor at 28 West Street to repair a service line. This has been an ongoing issue. It was a problem that we did an emergency repair back in the winter, and unfortunately, we were there. We told the people there they had to replace the whole line. It was extremely brittle. For some reason, the contractor came in and didn't do anything. He didn't replace the line at all. We noticed it was all copper right to the cellar. The guy had a problem leaking in the cellar. There were the leftover parts. It's all the tying into this copper line, jolted the copper line because there's not much. It was pretty well loosened right up, and he ended up having a flooded cellar just about 2 inches, 3 inches. I happened to hear the call of the fire radio because I was on duty for that, and went down to his house. There was only 2 inches of water, and I says, let's tie you, and I went with the other contractor. We tied in his house, and we fixed the problem today. Did a whole new line, did it properly. He's very happy. I don't know what happened with the other guy. I don't want to say. But it's done now and it's completed. So we're going to pave that little section there along with the other one, and everybody will be happy. We still have continuous issues on our communication line.
One question: whatever was done last winter, is it on our dime or on the home?
It was on our dime. It was an emergency repair. It was on their side, but it was flooding his cellar, and we had to repair it that night.
So are we gonna go back against that contractor for our money?
No, it's not something we can go back, it's something he can go back on if he chooses. We don't know what really happened there. We just did it as a way to get this thing corrected once and for all properly, because I can't have the cellar keep flooding out.
Now you fixed it.
I didn't fix it, the second contractor came in and fixed it, I assisted to make sure it was done properly.
Okay.
And I said, yeah.
And who's paying for it?
That guy, that homeowner's paying for it. He's paying double.
He's paying double.
Okay, and I don't want to get into
No,
contractors, but.
I thought you said it was our.
I talked to him numerous times, he had confidence that I said, listen, we're gonna get this done for you, fixed, because he's an older gentleman, he forgets a lot, and his son and daughter are way away, and they're really worried about his, so we took care of him, so he's all set. We're still having issues at communication problems with Station 6. LaFleur is preparing a packet for me on a new communication system that should alleviate this problem. And it shouldn't be a whole lot of money. It should be, because we're using phone lines now, and the phone lines are obsolete. And we're lucky we still have the last remaining phone line to keep the telemetering going. So once he gets this into place, we'll start implementing it in all the 2 stations, and we may move it up to the tanks and eliminate all this communication. We got rain, snow, freezing, we lose contact, and we get into big trouble, and we overpump or underpump, and it's a big problem. So this is needed material to be done, and we're gonna get it done right, and get it done right up the state of technology that it needs to be.
And what would that be? Computer, cell phone?
It's more of a cell phone type thing, with a cell phone, little antenna kind of thing.
Cell dialer,
Yeah, and it'll read off of that, and Donnie says he looks like the line sites are pretty good to get it what we need to. So he's pretty confident that's gonna be the way to go. I've met with the CMRPC, Central Mass Regional Planning Committee, on hazard mitigation and identification regarding how the water department plays with our hazards as far as chemicals, things like that, in emergency and disaster, if something happens, So it's been an ongoing program through the fire department, and we've been having a couple meetings, and there's more to come. They're going down a list of the town, trying to identify flooding hazards, like Station 6 is a little bit of a flooding hazard, going over the bridge there with Potash Pond there. Things like that. So they're working on that, and this allows grant money, things like that, to, federal funds, things like that. So they're gonna help a little bit down the line. It's gonna take a while, but to look at our mains, transite mains, replacing this, using monies and help from the federal government. So that's looks like it's something coming down the line. The other thing is I met with the DPW study committee yesterday, 2 of the members here. We met in this room, and they were asking a lot of questions regarding water and sewer. I could answer most of sewer. I told them also to talk to Mike, and even they could go see Louis Gribb if they want more information. They had a little bit of a wake-up call as to what the water and sewer are all about, and what we were actually working with, the number of people, the resources we have, only a third of the town being water, so, kind of an eye-opener. So they're going in further to look at all this situation there, I'll keep you updated.
This is that contractor that they've got?
Yes.
Could you keep us informed when they're gonna be around?
Yeah, they're gonna call me back at some time, or they didn't say exactly when, but they're gonna be going other towns, they're gonna be other places, they're gonna try to compare this, and I explained the whole situation is, is our setup compared to other towns, and the only one that's even close to compatible with us would be Webster right now, and as far as being identical, because either towns have all water and sewer, most water and sewer, or they don't have really not much water and sewer, and we are sort of in the middle. We have, about a third to a half, somewhere in there, of water and sewer, which changes a lot of scenarios because it affects things differently when you're talking with those type of committees. And the other thing was, the last thing, I just happened to look at the selectmen's meeting of last Monday. They seem to have a little problem as to what the water department's direction is, and I know the town administrator has been on top of it. He is negotiated with the union for me to be temporary superintendent, and everything seems to be going right, and they seem to be all set with that. He called me and just asked, we just want to, like a memorandum of memory of what you want and what they're looking for. Yeah, MOM, whatever you call it. And it's just a small little basic increase, and it's not a big deal, and I agreed to whatever, for a certain percent that they said. And I think it's pretty much a done deal. The only thing that I don't know if it has to be made official or not, because the selectmen were kind of at a loss as to what is going on at this point, who's running it. I did go to a couple meetings ago. I plan on going to the next meeting just to answer any questions as far as if they have any.
Well, I think we need to make it official on our part.
At least let them know what you're doing right now.
And if it needs to be posted, damn thing.
Yeah. Just to let you know, I was planning on retiring in October. I'm staying on at least for a year right now. If they do go into a DPW, then I'll retire. But just to let you guys know, you need a certified operator who's been working in the capacity for 1 year to be licensed to operate this system, okay? Even bringing...
Which system?
Water system, this particular water system. Now, I think as I understand it from the new laws of DEP, you have to be physically in the system working at least a year to be a full operator, which I am, a full operator with the licenses needed. Brian has his licenses, but he needs to be a full operator. He's an operator in training. You can't be an operator in training. So even if they're talking about bringing in some outside source to be a licensed operator, I don't know how that portrays to full operator in this system. That's one gray area I have. But it costs a numerous amount of money to do that, so it'd be kind of ridiculous for me to step and have a guy come in and do all this stuff. So right now, it is what it is. It's normal operation. Everything's, doing fine. Everybody's working and taking shares of the work here and there to help out.
So you've had your conversation through the town administrator?
I had a little bit with him, mostly.
What I'm getting at is, as you mentioned, do we need something in writing? You're willing to do the work?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay on and do it. I mean, yeah, I'm basically like an interim water superintendent. It's basically, Mike handles things at the sewer. If he needs help, he calls. If I need help from him, he calls. He's really nothing big there. He's taking care of that. As far as they want to know, I think they want to know if there's some intern in place that's working and acting as the superintendent, at least the day-to-day operations, to make sure that they...
I'd like to make a motion that we hire George as interim superintendent for the water sewer department.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
On that subject, I don't say we need a contract, but I think we need something in writing that he meets his union requirements.
They're working on that. The union reps
language.
and Greg are working with that. Yeah.
The convoluted way, that's through the selectmen.
Okay.
They're working
We
with
don't
that.
have any negotiating rights.
We'll keep an eye on it then, but I agree with you.
They just want to know what's going on, I
It's
guess.
an amicable process, everyone's working together.
Yes, yeah.
Well, then I think...
I'll talk to them more as I go to the meeting if they have questions on that.
I think also in the future, then, we have to be aware of, we have to reach out to the Personnel Board and the Board of Selectmen. Are we going to, hire a superintendent?
The selectmen have already said that they want to hold off until after the study is done.
And what's the duration of that study?
They said they expect it to be done by December.
Okay, so that's, okay.
Any way you go, even if they decide to get a new highways, I mean, Vinny's being approached as far as being the operator for the highway, same way I was for this. So he's gonna be doing the same thing, but only he's non-union, which is no different.
Vinny Grip?
Vinny Collette. So, but even at that time in December, by the time you get the conversations going and something in place, something going, you're talking almost a year of and we don't know which way they're gonna go with this study thing.
In the future, any meetings with that study group, or anytime we are on the agenda for the selectmen, I personally would like to know about it. The board itself should know about it.
Send us an email, every one of us if you can.
And I believe, just to eliminate any problems like we had the last time, it should be posted. If we don't end up having a meeting, fine, or quorum, but I was shut down simply because they were sitting at the table and couldn't speak.
I plan on going to the next meeting. I'm not sure Jay might go with me, just to answer questions, not as a...
I don't know the date in the next selectmen's,
but the thing is,
post it.
But the thing is,
If 3 or 4 of us
if it
go.
comes up and we're there and we've got something to
Yeah.
input, we can't if we're not posted as a meeting.
I would post it so you're covered, because I am going to go to the next one
Yeah,
anyway.
I would say any selectmen's meeting that has to deal with water or sewer is gonna be posted as a water sewer meeting, okay? whether we show up or not, if it's gonna be discussed, this way we're
And we
covered.
just need to know.
Like I said, if you guys want to come and they're there, and there's more than two, then, or,
Yep.
So am I posting a meeting? for
I'm
this
going
for
to the next
selectmen's?
selectmen's meeting, so you
Yeah.
might want to post it as, in case
But
they,
every-
If we're discussing this
everyone
DPW
that-
study, absolutely.
gives them the right to show up.
We didn't know though, because.
But also, I think
they
it's,
sent out-
it's a good line of communication. The fire chief is typically there, the police chief, the highway super.
It's not every time, it's
See
like
somebody
once a
from the
month
water
or
sewer department.
whatever, just, I don't
Hey,
want to overstay my welcome.
Inform them what's taking place.
Yeah.
That's all.
They like that, it's never really happened
Yeah.
before, so it gives them, people call at the end of the meeting, or whether they say, they have questions, what's going on, I saw this, I saw that, at least you get somebody
You
that can answer the
should show your
question.
face and tell them what's going on.
Yeah, that's all.
I've
That's
been-
it for the,
I've been sitting in numerous meetings and they've never once asked. Never once.
well, they sure asked me the last time I was.
Will we get a posting of the selectmen's agenda every?
When they
My
have their
agenda doesn't
meetings on
come out.
Thursday, she sends it out, but like this week, you were watching and they were mentioning us. It wasn't listed on the agenda because it was under the town administrator's report. That's how it came up, so
Well,
it
they
didn't
mentioned
have, it didn't have
What I
water or
just said
sewer
about the,
listed, so.
who's
The
running
I
it.
and I, and then they were talking about your position. But on the agenda, it just said town administrator's report. It didn't say water and sewer, so
That's a,
we wouldn't have
Can we
known.
send a note to the administrator and say, if you're gonna discuss it, let us know so we can post a meeting?
So we can answer questions.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, they're saying they don't get any information, but like I said, I've sat through
Two-way street.
numerous selectmen's meetings. They could have easily asked a question, and they don't. And then they're trying to deflect it and put it back on us. And it's,
What's the R for? Butcher?
I already told you that.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, my thought back. Okay, hey, moving on, old business. 27 Tanyard Road, that's where we had the issue with the water main break, or with the freeze up in the house, and you folks had to go in there and get into the building. Well, I know we had the agreement with the gentleman to pay the water bill in full, and the claim was all the water went down the street, it didn't go down the sewer,
Yeah.
and we settled on a number.
Yeah.
So, Laura, if I'm correct, the town auditor and the town treasurer will not accept, $1,500 against a $7,000 bill to write it off. Basically, right? The
Right,
auditor.
Rich, when I went to do the abatement, Rich was saying that the town auditor would have a real hard time with that figure because we had nothing to back it up. So I did go back to Mr. Conrad, he agreed, and he has paid the full thing.
So in other words,
He's already paid it.
Conrad Allen?
No,
No.
Jeff Conrad. that
So
was
I
here.
think,
He was here at the meeting last.
27 Canyon,
I think what we have to
Yeah, he
do
was
is
here last month.
rescind.
rescind our vote of,
Well, I'm confused here. How can the town tell us we can't, we had justification for it, it was a legitimate thing.
We can't justify, like the 75, I think that number was just kind
we
of.
said like,
picked
what
out
would you
of
say,
the air. They wanted
25%
numbers
of
to
the
back
bill?
it.
We have to have if a percentage of the thing is considered to be sewer, and we know that the water didn't go into the sewer system, we can abate that. But we can't just arbitrarily pick, well, okay, then we're gonna abate this amount.
So in other words, he's paying the full sewer bill
We should,
He already did.
and the full water bill.
Okay.
So we have to rescind the vote of that particular meeting.
It's attached here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why do we have to rescind it?
Because he paid it.
Because it's paid. Instead of the we're going to rescind the negotiation.
so, but, yeah,
Why?
because he paid the bill anyway, so it's a moot point.
confused.
I'll make a
Yeah,
motion.
it was
I'll make a
agreed at the
motion we
meeting, if he
rescind
paid that bill, he'd be-
That was done in August?
It was
Yeah, I know,
done
yeah.
August 8th.
Okay, I'll vote, make a motion that we rescind the vote of August 8th concerning 27
That's
Day
the,
Road.
I forgot to say, that's
Second.
the hydrant break cost.
Do I have a second?
Yep.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. It's because we picked an arbitrary number that we
I
thought would,
understand why.
and the auditor says that he
Yeah.
won't accept an arbitrary number.
What do we do when pools, when the guys pool, the pool water, we let them fill the pool, we don't charge
We
them for the
metered
sewer?
it.
You meter it.
Yeah, pool meters
We
go in.
meter it.
Well, we have,
And we
Yeah.
have, we have
Yeah.
actual numbers.
in the past, we have, somebody's come in and said, look, I didn't realize I could get an outside meter, I filled my pool, can I?
That would be the board's
And we
decision
took
at that
it-
time for an abatement.
That's what this
Can I-
was.
But this was, this is a different story. This was actually a fault of the owner there. I remember I said there was no no oil in the burner, in the oil tank. So nobody was monitoring the building to make sure everything was running properly, keeping the heat in the building. So there was some liability there as far as,
It's a moot,
Okay, like I say, we voted on it. What's item B, Laurie, Jesse Road?
Because you voted at the April 18th meeting to approve them to have, give them approval for water and sewer, but we didn't have a public hearing till tonight, because we didn't know they were in the groundwater protection area at that
Okay.
point. So I didn't know if
make
you
a
had to
motion
rescind
to
that.
approve the project for 18.
We have to rescind the vote,
Oh, we have to rescind that?
rescind the vote from April
Fourth.
4th
April 4th.
concerning the Jesse Road project.
as long as they meet all the regs for planning board and conservation, I mean,
So it's still up in the air.
Still up in the air.
Still up in the air. So we just rescind that vote
Yep.
that we gave
Make a
approval
motion
at
to
that time.
rescind that vote. How's that?
Okay. Is it seconded?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Abstain.
Abstain. One abstain. Okay, before we go any further, do you have the paperwork? We might as well get this out
Wait a
now.
minute, do we, now that we had the public meeting,
Yeah.
do we need to give him permission to tie in?
We've still got some more work looking at. We've still got.
You could actually wait till the next meeting, probably to
Okay.
approve
That's
that.
fine.
Yeah, till we're here, okay.
So are we gonna, what,
We still have.
unrescind our,
Let's just move on.
We're gonna move over to this topic. Everyone's been working on the cost of that Ethan Allen hydrant water main break. And I guess we feel that we have the right because of the inadequate protection of the property and the expenses incurred by us
Yep.
to send them a bill. And
I would forward one to the administrator for town council to review too.
Okay.
Because that may get into a stickler, and you could send him that.
mm,
What we agreed on is, since it was 500,000 gallons roughly in the tank and some losses, it
Yeah.
went off, branched off into the
it kept
system.
pumping.
We
Then
did
why
about
does it-
7,
Then why does it say 750,000?
because it was also water going off into the system, being pumped from the stations themselves.
I understand that, but this says 750,000 gallons of water,
Yep.
$3,690.
Yeah, that's cost of water, the water for that, per, what do we charge now, 8?
then there's overtime, then there's labor costs.
Yeah.
500,000 came out of the tank.
Yep.
Another 250,000 came from the pumping stations.
Came from the system
Yeah.
being pumped.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So it's using our rates for water
That's
consumption.
all we get for it.
It's really not, it doesn't look, I know it looks small, but it's what it is.
A lot higher than that.
If you go by what you use in your house, it's compatible with that. So, I know it looks kind of, but, you get a lot for water, basically speaking, you get a lot for your water.
Okay.
And the rest of it's labor costs, overtime,
Where did you get the numbers for payroll and labor?
that came right from,
The amount of overtime
yeah,
spent on that.
from what we paid for the guys, for time cards and all this stuff, and their rates.
How many gallons typical house use in a year?
Yeah, this would be somewhere 17 to 18, 20, somewhere in there. All depends on, everybody's kind of different.
I know,
Some
but
of
I'm
them-
just asking.
17, you go from 15 to 20.
17 a quarter.
Yeah,
Are the police,
17,000 gallons a quarter?
that's a quarter, right?
Yeah, it's a quarter.
Quarter, 3 months.
are the police and fire, are they gonna bill them for their time, run around? like
They
a-
really, the police didn't really do anything because they were on an investigation on another matter, on a drug deal. So I didn't get it, officer I got was one guy from Webster to just drive around town a little bit, and that was it.
We didn't get a bill from Webster?
That's part of their
Oh,
routine
that's
patrols, mutual aid.
That's mutual aid agreement, they don't.
That's mutual aid agreement.
So
They
our
can arrest
overtime
somebody
cost
who
comes
doesn't-
out about
They-
$40 an
mutual
hour,
aid, they
time and a
can't be
half?
billed.
No, but they can arrest somebody who doesn't?
Yeah, on certain.
Would the benefit package, and,
No, I think he just.
I don't think you really go into
I
that.
think Brian calculated that, I think he just did the hourly wages.
I think that's all you really.
because you got your first paragraph, overtime costs, day of.
Yeah, that's how, I just
That's
did it, how
still-
we broke it down.
Yeah, okay, then you got cost of following day, 4 hours, that's 25,
Yeah, that's at normal rate there.
normal, right?
Yeah.
The fire department wasn't involved?
No. They were only involved communication-wise when I enacted reversed the E911, what they call it. So
Code
that
red.
instead of us trying to go out and tell everybody we got a problem when we're busy doing other things, they go through the fire department, sends a signal through the phone lines, and everybody gets a phone call in the affected areas.
I got the phone
There's
call
no
in New
fee?
Jersey.
There's
Yeah,
no
you
fee
get
for
a phone
that?
call.
I'm just questioning
There's no fee.
the taxes and everything else go up too on overtime. The withholding taxes and all
Yeah,
that
I
stuff?
think, I can check with him tomorrow, I
Pension.
think he just did the salary.
Just the salary basics, we didn't want to get too,
So, what's the feeling of the board?
The
We
only,
should build this?
Yeah, definitely.
is there any additional cost, tangible cost, to the system?
no.
It's not, that'd be negligible?
No, just the recovery aspect of it took a little while, it really
Just
wasn't.
That's negligible?
Yeah, it is, you know.
So, how many gallons went through the guy's house that we tried to give an abatement that apparently the town accountant, whatever, is in charge of our billing? How many gallons went through his house?
You're talking about 27 Tanya
Yeah,
Road?
the guy who had to pay the bill even though we abated.
Oh, that was a combination of past readings.
Passing readings and, yeah, we can't really say for a break like that, there was no accountability, went out to the street. So, I mean, with the
Well,
meters read, I don't know.
We had an issue getting into that house
Yeah,
with
that-
estimated readings.
What was your total
And the meter hadn't been read in a while either, I
Yeah.
think.
Total
it-
bill was 12,000 something, and then by the time he paid it, it was just a little
So
over 13.
that
because
cost
he
more
had-
than this is what I'm.
He had interest that
kinda
was added
crazy,
to it, because he
right?
didn't pay it.
Think about it.
right away.
12,000, so he paid 12,000, but this is 750,000 gallons?
This guy shut down the whole
5,000?
town for a day. I mean,
How
it's
is
just
That's
like-
over a long, long
There's
period of
gotta be
time,
something
that's a
not right.
continuous.
Well,
It's because
that
his
house
was being
went-
estimated so many cycles. I mean,
That went for
so many
years, so you had your quarterly fees.
You're talking a small day duration versus, what, years?
It was a year.
Oh,
Years.
this went on for years?
For
Yeah.
years.
Oh.
And you add your quarterly fees
that
for
the
sewer
same
and
house?
water 4 times
The
a
same
year.
house we were talking about
No.
earlier?
There's 31 and 27, one's on the high side of the hill, one's on the little bit
Alright.
further down.
Oh, okay.
And you sure that,
All right. Now,
Well,
devil's advocate, I don't see a sewer charge here.
There wouldn't be because.
There was a
it-
suppression system.
That's
Went in
not-
the
Not
ground.
sewer.
How do we know?
That went into the ground.
Went into the water and went into the pond.
Went into the
river.
French
By the
River.
river. Didn't go in the sewer.
That's a yard hydrant, that's
And you can't, and
outside.
you can't charge a sewer because you're not domesticated into the sewer.
I understand that, but how do we know? Nobody saw it.
They, reports where somebody did see it, it didn't say
I
anything.
understand that,
But
but.
you can't claim on sewer when it went right to the.
so
I was just-
water costs
I know you're being in it.
a half a cent a gallon. Is that right?
look at your,
It's
It's-
$3 per 100 cubic feet.
and that's 750 gallons.
What's the, 7 point?
Hold on.
Stay.
$3
Almost
for 100
almost
cubic
eight.
feet?
What'd you say? $3 for,
$3 for 100 cubic feet.
and 100 cubic feet would be 750 gallons.
So $3 to 750 gallons.
What's that
And
gonna be?
that's 1,000.
That's
1,000
4
cubic
cents.
feet.
That, your calculation, I think, is wrong. That's 4 cents, this calculation's coming out to .004.
No, it's almost 8 per.
That's,
Yeah.
I know
that's.
Oh, hey, no, hey.
750, that's
then you
easy,
pay
then
more.
that's 1,000 square feet.
Cubic.
1,000 cubic feet, rather.
Cubic feet.
1,000 cubic feet of water. 75? Is it 75
Seven.
gallons?
750.
7,000, what was it?
But you get the increased rate over so many cubic feet.
750,000 gallons is what it was.
And what's the rate? It's 750.
$3 per 100 cubic feet.
No, you're using the other rate over 3,000 cubic
Yeah,
foot
then it goes
usage.
up to it
Goes up
too,
to-
yeah. It's a tiered thing for
Yeah, it's a
that.
tiered, what's
For the
that,
first
370?
3,000.
First, yeah.
How many gallons in a cubic foot, 150?
Then it goes up to 375.
750.
750.
7.5 gallons in a cubic foot.
Yeah,
Almost
7.48.
Okay, 7.5, so
That's
that's,
100,000 cubic feet. Right?
oh, 10,000.
No, it's
10,000.
It's 7.5, that's per cubic.
750,000 gallons divided by 7.5?
Water rates, $3 per 100 cubic foot, up to 3,000 cubic foot. 375 over 3,100 cubic foot. So that 7,500 times 3 should be like $21,000, no?
That should be a lot higher, yeah.
If I can have Brian rework the.
Oh, wait,
numbers.
750,000 gallons, right?
Yeah.
Divided by 7.5 gallons?
750 gallons.
Which is-
750 gallons per,
7.5 gallons in a cubic foot.
in a cubic foot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the rate
But
is
it-
per
the
100
rate
cubic
is-
foot.
The rate is
375
375 over 3,100 cubic feet.
750, so it's 1,000 cubic feet of water. 1,000 cubic feet.
7,500 times almost 4, that's a $25,000 water bill.
And he said it's 750,000
Yeah.
750,000 gallons.
right? I don't have a calculator in front of me, but
Yeah, we'll have,
that should be billed out at the 375 rate.
Well, after 3,000.
Oh, no, time out. I'm
That was
so
over
confused.
3,000 in
Seven,
5 minutes. with that rate.
I think it's 3,750 from what you just said.
375.
Yeah, no, but, time out, 750,000 gallons divided by 750.
7.5.
We can do this out, we can do this offline.
I'm losing my
Well, actually, no.
why don't you hold on that, Jay, we'll do another recap of that, just to be able to, because everybody's, because maybe we didn't put the added rate in on the increase.
It's 1,000 cubic feet, right?
Yeah.
100 cubic.
We'll present that to the next meeting and revamp that a little bit, just to make sure that,
$3 for every 100 cubic feet, right?
$3 up to 3,000, $3 per 100 cubic feet, up to 3,000 cubic feet. That's for the average homeowner.
So it's $3,000.
up to 3,000,
No.
up to 3,000 cubic feet.
3
And it
times.
changes the rate.
That's $9,000. Something's not right there.
Something's not right.
I don't know about that,
Okay.
we'll revamp that and make sure, before everybody's computers
Mr.
go out.
Chairman, I make a motion to
calculators go out.
adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Is it seconded?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Adjourn it.
Who made, Scott did?